Chapter 1335. At the entrance of the Broken Kingdom, on the wide surface of the Guyuan River, 8 or 9 small islands had appeared out of nowhere. Dozens of thick pillars of water surged around these islands. These pillars of water were dozens of feet in diameter and were surrounded by a layer of pale white light. The pressure they exuded was enough to make nascent soul cultivators tremble in fear. When these pillars of water hit the surface of the river, they didn't make any sound. Only mist rose in spirals, forming an area of fog that stretched as far as the eye could see. These islands looked like immortal holy lands floating in the clouds. This was the core area of the minor astral 36 formation, the node closest to the entrance of the Broken Kingdom. At this time, at the top of a pavilion in the center of a small island, 3 cultivators were standing on the edge of the railing in the open air. One of them was a short, blue-haired old man. The other was a cold fairy dressed in a light blue robe, and the last was an old woman with long, light golden hair. They were the pseudo-soul formation overlords in charge of the heavenly Dipper Grand Array, Lord Ice Spirit of the 5 Spirits Temple, Beihan Fairy of the Northern Yuan sect, and the old woman was Shui Bihua, the Grand Elder of the Golden Sky sect. These 3 top cultivators of the immortal cultivation world were looking at the huge entrance of the Broken Kingdom with unease and nervousness. Isn't Master Lu guarding the Guyuan River? It's already been a day. Why isn't he here yet? Shui Bihua asked in a hoarse voice. She sounded a bit anxious. Master Ice Spirit said slowly. Master Lu said he's looking for a helper. This way, he can explore the demonic mist. He must be waiting for that helper. Hearing this, Fairy Beihan guessed. Is it fellow Taoist Hong from the Body Refining Pavilion? He comprehended the power of intent more than 80 years ago. Perhaps he has reached the soul formation stage by now. Master Ice Spirit shook his head slightly and said, Master Lu is still at the Body Refining Pseudo-Divinity transformation stage. No matter how powerful that fellow cultivator Hong is, he can't be more powerful than Master Lu. However, if the Body Refining Pavilion really has 2 pseudo-divinity transformation stage powerhouses, then in this war against the devil race, there should be. Someone is coming. Halfway through his words, he suddenly raised his head and saw a light blue figure flying out from the entrance of the Broken Country. It was shining with a blurry halo, like a special whirlwind shooting over at an astonishing speed. The surrounding Big Dipper formation seemed to have sensed something. Light blue halos appeared in the air, and the water on the river suddenly became turbulent. So its fellow Taoist, Tsang Feng of the Falling Feathers sect, Ice Spirit Venerable, sensed the spiritual will and smiled. He formed a seal with his hand and shot a ray of spiritual light at the jade array disk behind him. The restless restrictions in the vicinity dissipated, and the spiraling fog opened up a passageway that was neither big nor small. Shui Bihua said with some dissatisfaction, My old man is here, but Master Lu hasn't arrived yet. This speed is too slow. What? Master Lu hasn't arrived yet. This old man has only used the 10,000 miles talisman to pass through. I haven't seen him in person yet. Accompanied by a doubtful voice, a thin and handsome old man landed on the attic. Wisps of breeze containing spiritual energy surrounded his body. Ice Spirit Supremacy saw this old man, and a white jade pendant appeared in her hand. She threw it over and said, Fellow Cultivator Blue Wind, this is the restriction array disk of the Big Dipper formation. It contains a magic forbidding array that needs to be refined with your soul. After that, you can freely enter and exit the formation. The handsome old man took the jade pendant and said in amazement, The Big Dipper formation passed down by the Yuan school is really powerful. The array disk is refined with a magic forbidding array and soul. Even if the devil race gets their hands on it, they won't be able to sneak in. Ice Spirit Supremacy smiled and said, Some of the structure of this formation was given by the Body Refining Pavilion. By the way, this is Fairy Beihan from the Northern Yuan school. The handsome old man turned to look at this fairy. He felt the cold will and cupped his hands. Fairy Beihan from the northernmost land. Congratulations on the addition of another semi-god realm cultivator to the cultivation world. Fairy Behan returned the greeting and said, I also made the breakthrough by chance. Fellow cultivator Blue Wind, are you here to help fellow cultivator Shui? This Taoist Blue Wind stroked his beard and said, That's right. My wife and I used a special method to reach the semi-god realm. We can't leave the realm of vitality for a long time. We can only use our incarnations. Our combined power is comparable to a pseudo-god realm cultivator. Speaking of this, he said in a serious tone, By the way, is your information accurate? Has the devil race started to teleport? I Spirit Supremacy nodded and said seriously, That's right. The spatial fluctuation this time is even more intense than 80 years ago. It has lasted for a day and a night. It means that the devil race is continuously teleporting over. My senior martial brother, fellow cultivator Mo, fellow cultivator Gu, and Abbot Jiyuan all went to the outermost stronghold not long ago to guard against the sudden attack of the devil race. Shui Bihua snorted and said, Master Lu said that he would go to the devil race himself. In the end, halfway through her words, the blonde old woman couldn't help but raise her head. The others also sensed something and looked towards the entrance of the broken country, only to see a tall and sturdy figure shooting out from the center, invisible fluctuations rolling around his body. Master Lu is here. Everyone's spirits were lifted. Just as I Spirit Supremacy was about to open the restriction, a unique divine thought came in. Although they were all soul formation cultivators, they still felt a little uncomfortable under the influence of this divine thought. Time is of the essence. Lu won't chat with you and will go directly to the devil race. Activate the 10,000 miles talisman. I will inform you of the devil race's situation as soon as possible. Then this spiritual will roll back. At this time, a jade pendant on Lu Kuan's waist was gushing out a pale white light that wrapped around his body. Without triggering the seal of the Heavenly Dipper Great Array, he shot into the distance at an astonishing speed. Master Lu's spiritual will is a bit special. It actually oppresses my body. It seems to be the spiritual will of a peak, late nascent soul stage cultivator, but it is also a bit different. Master Lu is still in the semi-god realm. Is there something special about the spiritual will of a body cultivator? Master Lu is so confident in exploring the devil race. Where is the helper Master Lu mentioned? Why is he alone? Everyone looked at Lu Kuan, who quickly disappeared from their sight, and looked at each other. I Spirit Supremacy hesitated for a moment before saying, The helper Pavilion Master Lu invited should be fellow Hong. Back then, when we were trapped in the depths of the demon fog, it was they who broke in to rescue us. Shui Bihua was stunned and said, Fellow cultivator Hong? But we saw Master Lu alone? Taoist Song Feng said curiously, I saw that Master Lu activated the jade pendant to avoid the attack of the Heavenly Dipper Great Array. Could it be that fellow cultivator Hong is even more powerful and can hide from this great array? I Spirit Supremacy thought of the strange scene of Hong Yuntian's head growing from Lu Kuan's shoulder during the battle with the Devil King. The corner of her mouth twitched and said, Don't forget their terrifying fusion. The other semi-god realm warriors heard about the battle between the Devil King and Devil King. After being stunned for a while, they understood. Back then, they could enter the depths of the devil race alone. Naturally, they have the means to resist this kind of devil race's restriction. We should follow Master Lu's words and activate the 10,000-mile talisman. According to what he can detect, we can make preparations as soon as possible. Okay. I didn't expect the devil race to take action so soon. We just discussed the way to smelt the devil will. Lu Kuan flew quickly in the great array while sinking his spiritual will. He spoke to the black liquid wrapped around the snow soul blade in his chest. Hong Yuntian's serious voice came out from it. I didn't expect the devil race to react so quickly. 80 years to the devil race is only less than a year. No matter what, let's check it out first. The bone treasure in Lu Kuan's body shone brightly. Together with the full primordial force, his speed was astonishing. He was much faster than those semi-god realm warriors. Other than the violent roars in the air, he could only see the rippling airflow caused by the terrifying power. Soon, he crossed 100 miles and came to the edge of the Big Dipper Formation. He greeted the semi-god realm warriors at the nodes, and then rushed into the devil race fog 10 miles away. Feeling the drowsy aura in the fog and the illusions around him, Lu Kuan murmured in his heart, "The devil race fog in the periphery is not a threat. The spiritual will above the nascent soul realm can resist it. It should be like what they said. The deeper you go, the more powerful it will be." Humph! This kind of messy restriction can only trick your divine sense. How can it block my 6 ears' divine ability? At this time, a clear voice came out from one of Lu Kuan's soft ribs. The tone was full of disdain. Hong Yin Tian was surprised and said, "Xiao Jin, is it not hindering you at all? Lu Kuan and my spiritual will not be affected, but the range of our spiritual will has been shortened." Xiao Jin's proud voice came. "Of course, my spiritual will can only cover 100 miles. There is no change here. As long as there is air flow and there is a slight sound of friction, the surrounding scene will be shown in my mind. There are no strange creatures in this range." Hearing this, Lu Kuan chuckled and said, "Look at you. Your tail is sticking up." Xiao Jin heard this and said with dissatisfaction, "Lu Kuan, with my spiritual will, I can hear the voice transmission of semi-god realm warriors within 1,000 feet. This devil race fog is nothing." "Haha, let's talk about it when we get to the deepest part." Lu Kuan laughed and used a high-grade invisibility talisman. His body gradually disappeared. The surrounding demonic fog slightly twisted, as if only a gentle breeze had blown past. The helper Lu Kuan asked was not Hong Yin Tian or anyone else. It was Xiao Jin. After the little monkey entered the bone transformation stage, his spiritual will improved. Even if he still had his golden eyes, in terms of detection ability, he could not compare to the 6 ears macaque's innate spiritual will. Chapter 1336. In the depths of the thick purple-black demonic fog of the Shattered Kingdom, 2 huge male demons were flying in the fog. The smaller one was about 9 feet tall, with bone spurs protruding from its joints. It had a single horn on its head, and the scales on its face were delicate. On the scales on its forehead, there was a strange triangular totem. On the other hand, the other demon was much larger. It was over 3 meters tall and had similar bone spurs. However, the scales on its body were somewhat different. Not only were they much thicker, they were also woven into a special armor that was embedded on the outside. He had short black hair, and more than half of his forehead was densely covered with totem patterns. If one looked carefully, they would discover that it was also a triangular totem, but much more complicated. This demon's limbs were incomparably thick, and even the thick scales could outline the lines of his muscles. His entire body exuded a heavy aura, and the surrounding demonic fog was greatly suppressed, being pushed 6 feet away. Blackhorn, the golden saber light you saw last time, did it really have the strength of a mid-stage demon king? The tall demon suddenly asked. The single-horned demon was stunned, then revealed some recollection. At that time, we were all wrapped in the power of space, so I couldn't sense it clearly. But even if it wasn't a mid-stage demon king, it was at least a peak early-stage demon king. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to stir up space turbulence. Hearing this, the tall demon revealed a thoughtful look. This time, the 3 demon lords joined forces to expand the space channel against the power of the realm, and also gathered all the nearby demon emperors in one go. It seems that this existence is most likely a mid-stage demon king, and its ability isn't small. The demon called Blackhorn couldn't help but say, "Brother Black Mountain, according to the information we received a few years ago, there hasn't even been a genuine early-stage deity transformation cultivator in the human race. So at most, this is a spirit world creature that accidentally entered this world. There's no need to mobilize such a force." Even 700 years ago, when the Saint race launched an all-out attack on this world, they were only willing to send 7 early-stage demon emperors and 1 middle-stage demon emperor powerhouse. This time, Lord Demon Lord is making too big a fuss over nothing. In order to maximize the transmission, he even sacrificed a demon emperor. You should know that with so many people, we can even deal with 2 or 3 mid-stage Demon King long-armed demon apes. The tall demon called Black Mountain had a mocking look in his eyes as he said, "Black Horn, at the same age, I became a demon emperor while you only broke through to the early stage of Demon King. This is the result of your limited vision." He ignored the other party's awkward expression and continued to say, "Every demon emperor is extremely precious to the saints. Who doesn't know this? Lord Demon Lord knows just how important a demon emperor is. Since they are willing to make such a sacrifice, they must have their own considerations. So, don't think about the human race. Treat this immortal cultivation world with the utmost caution, and even treat that middle-stage demon king existence as a top race of the spirit world. Do you know that if this fellow really is from some race of the spirit world, then we must thoroughly exterminate him? If the great races of the spirit world were to find out about this mystical world, then there would be nothing left for us to do. Even the saints would suffer a calamity." Blackhorn Demon King first showed a little disapproval, but when he heard the last sentence, he gradually thought of the clearance key, and his expression became dignified. "Understood." Black Mountain said seriously, "Spread out your divine sense and patrol carefully. The purpose of the demon lords seizing this world is to allow the low-level demons to quickly cultivate. At this time, we must be especially careful to prevent that fellow from sneaking in and teleporting. At this moment, a turbulent fluctuation of the power of space surged out from the depths of the demonic fog, even bringing about a burst of airwaves. The surrounding demonic fog also churned, and the 2 demons couldn't help but pause. Black Mountain raised his eyebrows and said, "This fluctuation, the Demon King teleportation, has ended. It seems to be the same as the number of demon emperors. Only 5 demon kings were teleported over." Blackhorn heard this and said with a relaxed expression, "Isn't this good? A demon emperor and a demon king. This is the best combat combination of our saints. The safety of any group is guaranteed." Black Mountain nodded slightly, but his expression was still cautious as he said, "Even so, we will still follow Luo Feng's orders and patrol within a range of 30 miles. Even if a battle occurs, they can quickly rush over to support. Black Wind and the others are dead. We don't know the specific ability of the other party. Not only can he pass through the nightmare fog, but he also killed 2 demon kings so quickly." Blackhorn's gaze was a bit strange as he said, "I heard that the demon lords have arranged for a demon general who has a high chance of breaking through to the fake demon emperor realm to come over. It seems that that fellow should have failed to break through. Otherwise, a fake demon emperor and 2 demon kings wouldn't have been killed so easily." Black Mountain was silent for a while before he slowly said, "There is another possibility, which is that the fake demon emperor and 2 demon kings were all killed." Blackhorn heard this, and the corners of his eyes twitched, but he didn't refute. If it was a powerful race in the spirit realm, they could really do this in the deepest part of the demonic fog. A total of 6 demons were floating in mid-air. They were in groups of 2, occupying a triangular position around the huge spatial rift. In a deep blue passage, a blue light was churning. There were 20 balls of light squeezing outwards, and each ball of light had a tall figure faintly inside. The speed of these balls of light wasn't slow, but in the area they passed through, there would be a large dark blue storm tumbling, with intense spatial fluctuations tumbling within. An hour later, when these balls of light passed through the storm, only 18 of them were left. 2 of them had completely disappeared. Very good. At present, there is only a 10% mortality rate. This wave of demon generals can send 18 people over. The demon lord's supernatural ability is truly unimaginable. After joining forces, they can actually exploit the gaps of the world's power and use a method of gradually lowering the energy level to maximize the transmission of the saints. As the transmission of the spatial passage continues, it will become more and more intense. If it weren't for my powerful body, I fear I would have already died inside. Even if the demon lords reacted in time, a demon emperor still died, and the number of demon kings is even greater. According to the demon lord's plan, when the demon kings reach a 50% mortality rate, they will be replaced with lower realms. The demon generals will have a 70% mortality rate, and the first wave will have a 10% mortality rate. With this, at least 100 demon generals will be able to come over, and the number of demon soldiers of lower realms will be innumerable. As long as we fight steadily and rapidly reproduce, we will be able to occupy this world within 500 years. As the several demons conversed, the first group of dark blue figures was soon transmitted out. There were a total of 18 people, and their auras were incomparably deep. All of them had formidable late demon generals. In midair, a female demon with a special flower totem on the side of her face lightly said, "All of you, divide into 6 groups and go out to patrol. Remember, you must be within 30 miles. Moreover, if there is any movement in the wind, immediately send out a warning." "Yes, my lord." These late demon generals seem to have undergone training. They quickly divided into 6 groups and entered the surrounding dark purple demonic fog in 6 different directions. Over 40 miles away, behind a black rock, the demonic fog was slightly distorted, as if there was a gentle wind swirling around. Beneath this layer of invisible air, Lu Kuan's dignified face could be seen. In his body, Hong Yuntian's gnashing voice could be heard. "Are the demons crazy? For our small world, they actually sent 3 demon lords to suppress the power of the world. A total of 5 demon emperors and 5 demon kings," Lu Kuan murmured in his heart. "According to your information, Brother Hong, the weaker races in the upper realm don't even have a combination stage expert. I'm afraid the 3 demon lords are all the powerhouses of the demons. We have underestimated the temptation of this world to the demons." Hong Yuntian's tone was incomparably dignified. "Lu Kuan, the current situation is extremely dangerous. The immortal cultivation world is no match for the demons at all. The best way is to take advantage of their scattered attacks and destroy them one by one. As long as we obtain the corpses of the demon kings, or even the demon emperors, we will have enough materials to study the fusion of the frenzied demonic will. Only when you truly step into the realm of vital organs can the immortal cultivation world have a chance to win." Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. According to the situation more than 80 years ago, this strange demonic fog also has a restraining effect on the demons. The range of detection is limited. Xiao Jin's magical power completely restrains the demonic fog. This place is more suitable for us to fight. Hong Yuntian was stunned and said, "You want to fight?" With a distance of 30 miles, the demon emperors inside can come to support at any time. And from the sound of it, these demons are all extremely cautious. It is very difficult to launch a sneak attack. Hearing this, Lu Kuan did not speak. Instead, he was silently calculating something in his heart. Chapter 1337. Somewhere in the demonic fog, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor was floating above a rock. Beside him was his younger brother, the Black Horn Demon King. In front of these 2 powerful demons, there were 3 demon generals with bone spurs. Their bodies were surging with strong demonic power. The scales between their eyebrows were spreading a layer of pale purple light, enveloping their heads. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor said with a gloomy face, "You mean the demon kings who died in the teleportation are all from our He family?" The leader of the late-stage demon general, feeling the violent, invisible force field of the 2 lords in front of him, trembled slightly and stammered, "Yes, yes." Hearing this, the Blackhorn Demon King unconsciously clenched his fists. His face was extremely ugly. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor was silent for a while, then waved his hand and said, "Okay, you continue to patrol. If you stay any longer, you won't be able to sense the other 2 patrol teams." "Yes, my lord." The 3 demon generals hurriedly flew in one direction as if they had been pardoned. As they spoke, the perception of the team of demon generals in front was already a little blurry. If they dragged on for a while, they would be out of the range of 30 miles. Although they had the support of the Mirage Disk and were not affected by the illusions and nightmares of the demonic fog, their divine sense only had a range of 2,000 to 3,000 feet. They could only rely on the light between their eyebrows to sense their fellow clansmen within 30 miles. The 6 groups of demon generals patrolled within 30 miles with the space channel as the core. The distance between each other was also maintained at this distance. In this way, any situation would be known by other clansmen. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor looked at the demon general squad that quickly disappeared in the demonic fog. The air under his feet was slightly distorted. He and the Blackhorn Demon King continued to patrol, but the 2 demons' faces were a little heavy. The Blackhorn Demon King couldn't help but say, "Brother," including Black Wind, who died before, "there are only 2 of us left in the Hay family. 5 demon kings have died. The strength of the family has lost at least 30%. If there are other families, maybe Lord Luo Tian will cancel the blood contract." Without the blessing of the top bloodline, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's face sank and interrupted. "There are still more than 1,000 years before the sacred sacrifice. As long as we seize this realm, the cultivation time of the Hay family disciples will be shortened by 100 times. Maybe when the sacred sacrifice starts, our strength will have increased several times. No matter what, completing Lord Allheaven's mission is the most important thing." Blackhorn Demon King still had a worried look. He was about to say something, but at this moment his and Black Mountain's expressions changed, and they all turned to look behind them. "There's something wrong with the demonic fog there. I sense it too." Although the Devil Emperor's fleshly body was powerful, the strength of his divine sense was no different from that of a Devil King. In this strengthened devil fog, the range of the 2 devil race powerhouses' divine sense was only 500 to 600 meters. Now, at the location they had probed, the fog first trembled slightly, and after a breath of time, it began to violently tumble like boiling water, as if there was a violent air current surging within. "Something's coming." The Black Mountain Demon Emperor immediately came to this conclusion. His expression became extremely solemn, and the totem rune on his forehead flashed with a purple light. He issued a warning to all demons within 30 miles. "All saints, pay attention. There is movement in the southwest direction." Just as he finished speaking, there was an increasingly loud roar in the distance. The tumbling devil fog thousands of feet away seemed to be squeezed by a powerful force and burst apart like a sonic boom. Then, a figure with a series of afterimages rushed out at a terrifying speed. "Enemy attack. Hold on, what is this? What a terrifying speed." Blackhorn Demon King and Black Mountain were already prepared to fight, but when their divine sense captured the appearance of this figure, they couldn't help but be stunned. It was a 2-headed, 4-armed, 2-legged monster. The 2 heads were similar to humans, one with short hair and a square face, the other bald and horse-faced. Between the necks of these 2 heads, there was a fist-sized tumor connected. This tumor seemed to be some kind of special organ. It radiated a pale, golden light that covered the entire body of this creature, forming a special membrane of light. His 4 arms danced wildly on both sides of his body, and between his palms and fists, there was an invisible force field surging. His legs also continuously stepped on the void, as if he was swimming in the sea, and the surrounding air was helping him run in the void. In addition, within the body of this deformed monster, there were hundreds of faintly discernible silver lights flashing, as if they were also helping it fly. Seeing the distorted air ripples caused by running through the void, Blackhorn Demon King's pupils shrank. Force field enchantment. Why does this creature have the special supernatural powers of my Saint Demon King? What energy is in its body? Its speed is too terrifying. On the side, Black Mountain Demon King's face was solemn. The totem lines on his forehead lit up again, and a short voice was transmitted out. The target has appeared. It is a strange 2-headed, 4-armed creature. It seems to have the force field enchantment of the Saint race. Its speed is comparable to a mid-stage demon emperor. Quickly come to support. Then a low and deep voice echoed from the totem lines on his forehead. Black Mountain, entangle it. We will arrive in 50 breaths of time. When Black Mountain Demon King heard this, his heart calmed down. A thick demon axe appeared in his right hand. The axe looked incomparably simple, like a black stick with a piece of iron inlaid on it, bringing with it a wild and primitive aura. As for his left hand, it grabbed a round shield. It looked like it was forged from some kind of metal. On the surface of the shield, there were bone spurs several feet long. Dark purple lightning like energy rolled in the muscles under the scales. The two weapons shone brightly, with purple lightning flowing on them. The surrounding rich demon Yuan Qi madly gathered towards him. Black Mountain Demon King's huge body, which was more than 10 feet tall, appeared a layer of dark purple light film. Thick dark purple lightning curled around it, making him look like a god descending to the mortal world with monstrous power. Blackhorn Demon King, next to him, seemed to be more careful. He held a dark yellow giant square shield in his hands. The surface of the shield was densely covered with demon patterns, with an incomparably heavy aura. The demon Yuan in his body surged, and circles of black light spread out with the shield as the core. Around the two demons, it formed an incomparably solid Yuan Qi halo with complex demon patterns. If we focus on defense, even if it is a true mid-stage demon emperor, there is no way to kill us in such a short time. When the other demon emperors arrive, no matter what this deformed creature is, it will only have a dead end. Attention, the other party has closed the distance of 400 feet. The distance is only 100 feet. 100 feet, 600 feet. What is it doing? Black Mountain Demon King and Blackhorn Demon King discovered at this time that the two-headed four-armed monster suddenly stretched out a pair of arms. The pair of small palms turned into claws. The palms faced each other, and the air in the middle was distorted, as if it was squeezing something strange. Almost at the moment this action was completed, Black Mountain and Blackhorn felt the air around them tighten. A terrifying force came from all directions, continuously squeezing them. The passive force field outside Blackhorn Demon King's body was directly squeezed. The demon Yuan on the surface of his body flickered uncontrollably, and the scales below also creaked. Fortunately, at this time, Black Mountain Demon King's force field radiated over and wrapped around his body. But even so, the invisible force field of the Demon Emperor was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. Long-range force field. The power inside is so terrifying, I'm afraid it has reached 3 million Gene. 500 feet. Why can his long-range force field reach as far as 500 feet? After Black Mountain Demon King and Blackhorn Demon King felt this squeezing force, as if they had seen something horrifying, and their faces were full of disbelief. The other party had the same force field as the Demon King and Demon Emperor, but this kind of long-range force field, whether it was the power contained or the range it affected, was beyond their understanding. Just as the energy in their bodies was surging, and they were preparing to use other means to resist this squeezing force, a low and hoarse voice sounded in the distance. Swirling light. Accompanied by this voice, the squeezing force that enveloped the two demon experts changed direction and collapsed downward, forming a three-dimensional vortex with a diameter of 9 feet and a height of 10 feet, emitting a pale golden light. This vortex looked like a large funnel from afar, and the surrounding dense force field lines were like a waterfall falling into the abyss, continuously appearing from the void in all directions, first squeezing toward the middle, and then collapsing into the depths of the funnel. With the appearance of this golden funnel, the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi all went berserk, and the layer of Yuan Qi shield around the two demons almost burst into primitive demonic Yuan Qi in the blink of an eye, and was sucked into the center of the funnel by the endless suction force. What a terrifying, devouring power! Black Mountain Demon King felt the endless power coming from under his feet, and his face changed dramatically. Deep purple lightning surged out of his body, wrapping his body into a giant thunderball, and cooperating with the passive force field to resist this terrifying suction force. "What's going on, my primordial spirit, Black Mountain? Help me." On the other side, Blackhorn Demon King looked extremely frightened. He found that this golden funnel vortex seemed to be able to strip the connection between demonic Yuan Qi and his primordial spirit. Not only did the surrounding Yuan Qi not listen to his orders, even the primordial spirit in his body was somewhat unstable. This strange golden funnel ability seemed to be able to affect the primordial spirit. As for his passive force field, it would collapse as soon as it was condensed, and could not resist this terrifying force that was 3 times his own. The demonic Yuan in Blackhorn Demon King's body, due to the influence of his primordial spirit, was limited in its power, and his body could not stop falling, and was about to be swept into the center of the golden funnel. Chapter 1338. At this moment, the dark purple light in the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's body increased, and the force field that had shrunk to 3 feet suddenly expanded and absorbed the Blackhorn Demon King. Then, a dark purple lightning ball shot out from his hand and entered the latter's body. The Blackhorn Demon King's dissipated passive force field seemed to be recondensed because of the infusion of lightning energy. It even temporarily blended with the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's force field and barely stopped the downward trend. Even so, their bodies were fixed in place because of this. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor felt this and showed a bit of ferocity. He raised the axe in his hand. Not only was there thick, dark purple energy rolling on it, but there was also a thin layer of force field distortion. But at this moment, he felt that the surrounding air seemed to be squeezed by a new force. The 2 demons were once again under great pressure because of the force field caused by the fusion of demon energy. What's going on? How can the long-range force field be used twice? The Black Mountain Demon Emperor couldn't help but look forward. He saw that the 2-headed, 4-armed monster had taken advantage of the time when they were resisting the funnel vortex to come 300 feet away. The pair of palms in front of it were still facing each other, but the other pair of arms had gathered above its head at some point. A grayish-black broadsword with some kind of special bone pattern was held in it. The pair of palms had strangely melted into a black liquid and merged with the handle of the broadsword. The surrounding demon Yuan Qi madly gathered toward it, especially the demon Yuan Qi filtered by the golden funnel. It surged more cheerfully, as if it had some kind of special affinity with this monster. In a breath or two, a full 500 feet of black broadsword aura extended from the tip of the demonic broadsword. The surrounding pressure became more and more obvious. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor didn't look at the broadsword aura at this time, but stared at the pair of arms holding the demonic broadsword. Under the pale golden light film, a layer of complex totem patterns appeared, with some kind of black flowing light faintly surging. Blood pattern. This deformed monster, how can it have the blood pattern of a high-level divine clan? He seemed to have seen an incredible scene and almost lost his voice. He didn't know whether it was because of the influence of his emotions or because there was a new layer of pressure around him. The force field that he and the Blackhorn Demon King temporarily merged with the force field suddenly collapsed. The 2 demons suddenly lost control of their bodies and began to fall. Meanwhile, the black saber aura that had expanded to 150 meters long and was engraved with mysterious hyperbolic runes crashed down with unparalleled might. Damn it! The demonic Yuan Qi is too passive under his control. Feeling the pressure that was comparable to the peak of the early stage of the demon overlord, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor immediately woke up. He didn't care about the Demon King, who was about to be swallowed by the funnel. Taking advantage of his passive force field, he swung his thick arm upwards. This axe, which shone with a deep purple light, carried a force field of 1 million kilograms of force as it met the enormous saber light head-on. Although this axe looked very small, it seemed to contain an extremely terrifying energy. The distorted dark purple light forcibly stopped the saber light for a breath of time before it was blasted away by the enormous force of the saber force. Black Mountain Demon Emperor took advantage of this opportunity to raise the round bone-spike shield with his two palms. Then, he curled up his body and hid behind the shield, and the thick scales on the surface of his body, under the support of the rich, lightning energy, scattered into small scales, wrapping his curled-up body into a purple-black sphere of scales. Boom! The slightly dimmed, huge saber aura slashed down from above. The violent power mixed with the terrifying power of the demonic Yuan Qi manifestation enveloped the two demon race experts. At the same time, the golden funnel vortex below also shone brightly. The suction force inside skyrocketed. Inside the Blackhorn Demon Emperor's body, a purple ball of light seemed to be affected by something and was directly sucked out by this suction force. Rumble. The black saber aura and the golden funnel intertwined with each other, forming a black-gold energy storm. The violent, demonic Yuan Qi aftermath, mixed with the terrifying Qi waves, rolled in all directions. A moment later, the demonic mist within a range of 200 to 300 meters was all squeezed out. A semicircular pit of 100 meters appeared on the ground. The Blackhorn Demon Emperor's body became broken. His calf below the knee was twisted into a strange arc. Broken bones were squeezed out of his flesh. The original head of the demon race was flattened by some terrifying force. The bone spurs on his shoulders were broken, and the scales on his torso cracked, revealing the broken flesh inside. Except for some demonic yuan in his body, the aura of the divine soul had dissipated. Only this broken body and a square shield beside him were left. As for the Black Mountain Demon Emperor, his 10-meter-tall body was half kneeling on the ground. There were many broken scales under his feet. The shield was in his hand, and he looked to be in good shape. It seemed that he had only suffered minor injuries. The surface of his body was rolling with dark purple energy, and his body was still constantly recovering. Rumble, accompanied by the sound of the air tearing, the two-headed, four-armed monster rushed toward the deep pit. Seeing this, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's face changed wildly. The dark purple lightning in his body rolled, and 6 feet was radiated by the force field. He stepped on the ground and wanted to escape, but he had just been attacked by 2 terrifying supernatural powers. His injuries had not recovered in time, and his speed could not burst out immediately. After only retreating 2 to 3 meters, the monster came close to him. An even more terrifying force field radiated out, crushing the force field of the Black Mountain Demon Emperor. Immediately after, this force field that extended to 9 feet, with a strong suction force, sucked the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's 3-meter-tall body over. His 4 arms raised relatively small fists and bombarded down like a storm. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor tried to block with his shield, but in the range of the opponent's force field, every movement was extremely difficult. The most important thing was that the opponent had 4 arms. He was blasted to the ground in an instant. The 2-headed, 4-armed monster pinned him to the ground, its 4 arms constantly waving. The palms on its arms were either clenched into fists, palms, or claws, carrying an incomparably solid halo of demon Yuan Qi, constantly bombarding him. A huge explosion and the sound of impact resounded in the huge crater. In just a few breaths, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's body had suffered at least 30 to 40 rounds of heavy blows. Broken scales mixed with purple-black blood splashed in the air. His huge body that was more than 10 feet tall was blasted deep into the ground. But as the number of heavy blows increased, the dark purple energy in his body became more and more dazzling. It flickered and flowed between his flesh and blood, constantly repairing his broken flesh. It seemed that as long as the energy was still there, it could be continuously repaired. This energy also had a strong defensive supernatural power. The denser it was, the stronger its defensive power. It was the densest in his internal organs. Although the majestic power hit his body, it did not endanger his life. The 2-headed, 4-armed monster seemed to have noticed this. The pair of arms that were engraved with black totems raised, and the grayish-black demonic saber appeared in his hands again. But at this moment, in the depths of the demonic fog in the distance, there was suddenly a series of roars, and 3 huge weapons shot out from the depths. A spinning double-headed axe, a large saber carved with some kind of beast head, and a huge round-headed iron hammer. These 3 weapons flashed with a dazzling dark purple light, and there was a thin layer of invisible force field on the surface. In the process of flying, they were constantly absorbing the surrounding demonic yuan qi, forming a solid yuan qi halo on the outside. After flying a distance of 1,000 feet, the yuan qi halo on the outside of each weapon had grown to 20 feet, containing a terrifying power, and bombarded the 2-headed, 4-armed monster. Seeing this scene, the monster continued to bombard the Black Mountain Demon Emperor below with 2 arms, while the other 2 arms that were holding the grayish-black demonic saber turned horizontally. A large amount of demonic yuan qi gathered inside, gradually forming a demonic saber light of 500 feet and swept towards the 3 huge weapons. Boom! A wave of air more intense than before soared into the sky. The light of the 4 huge weapons condensed from yuan qi, intertwined with each other, and a continuous stream of terrifying air waves rolled in all directions. The 2 sides were in a stalemate for 2 or 3 breaths of time, and then the black saber light of 500 feet trembled violently. The condensed yuan qi inside broke from the 3 places where the 3 weapons collided and collapsed into a mass of primitive demonic yuan qi. The light of the 3 huge weapons also weakened a lot, but there was still energy left, and they continued to bombard the front. Seeing this, the 2-headed, 4-armed monster did not hesitate at all. He stomped his feet on the ground, and a large amount of light surged in his body, and his figure turned into a phantom and retreated. He actually gave up on the Black Mountain Demon Emperor, who was powerless to resist, and picked up the corpse of the Black Horn Demon King not far away, and fled into the distance. On the other side, behind the 3 giant weapons, 3 huge bodies flew over in succession. 2 were males, and 1 was a female. They were almost the same size, more than 3 meters tall. Other than the female Devil Emperor's body, which was slightly slender, the others were incomparably sturdy. They landed in the pit, grabbed their weapons, and looked at the bloody Black Mountain Demon Emperor on the ground, who was relying on the dark purple energy to repair himself, and their expressions were very serious. The energy in their bodies was tumbling, and a lightning ball flew out of their hands and was injected into the Black Mountain Demon Emperor's body, causing the latter's recovery speed to skyrocket. Luo Yu. This monster's strength is close to 3,500,000 gene, and his magical power is very strange. Comparable to a mid-stage Demon Emperor, we can't let him escape. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor stood up reluctantly, clutching his bloody chest, and his divine sense was filled with fear. And his divine sense fluctuated, and he transmitted the magical power he had just encountered. The leader of the group, the bald Demon Emperor, had a solemn look on his face when he heard this. The dense totem patterns on his head shone brightly, and all the demon race cultivators within 30 miles received a message. Shuemang, come and help Black Mountain. Everyone return to the space channel and activate the Nightmare Formation's Mirage Thunderlight. He then looked at the other 2 and said in a deep voice, "This is a rare opportunity. We can't let this monster escape. Let's form a battle formation and chase after him." Okay. The figures of the 3 demon emperors flashed, forming a triangular square formation. Their bodies were intertwined with each other by the force field, and dark purple lightning intertwined in these 3 force fields, as if fused into one force field. Then they rose up, and bright light burst out from their bodies. The fused force field formed a sharp cone, and they chased in the direction of the 2-headed, 4-armed monster. The 3 demon emperors used some unknown method, and their explosive speed was terrifying, and they didn't seem much weaker than the monster. Chapter 1339. Watching the 3 demon emperors leave, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor sat down again. The totem between his eyebrows sensed that the last demon emperor, Meng, was rushing over. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and removed his palm from his chest. The flesh on it had healed, but there were still slight cracks in the bones that needed time to heal. If they had come more than 20 breaths later, the demon yuan energy in my body would have been exhausted. Without its protection, my body's recovery ability would be greatly reduced. If my internal organs were shattered, the Black Mountain Demon Emperor felt that there was only a small portion of the dark purple energy left in his body, and his heart was filled with fear. What kind of existence is this monster? It has the head of a human, the blood mark of a high-level saint, and the range of its force field is even greater than that of a late-stage demon emperor. This guy must be related to our saint clan. That grayish-black broadsword has a similar ability as a demon weapon. We early-stage demon emperors only have a force field of 20 feet, but this guy has a force field of 50 feet. It's even wider than a late-stage demon emperor. The Black Mountain Demon Emperor recalled the previous battle in his mind, while urging the demon yuan energy in his body to constantly heal his flesh. After a while, a fat demon clan man flew out of the demon fog, not far away. It was the last demon emperor, Meng. This demon emperor was fat and round, and his limbs and torso were extremely fat. The scales on the surface of his body could not cover the skin underneath, as if he was wearing a small scale armor. The flesh under the scales did not seem to have any muscle lines. It swayed and was a little elastic. He had spiky black hair, and on his chubby chin, there was a layer of strange totem patterns formed by a layer of strange rings. Meng looked at the Black Mountain's body. Although the flesh had recovered, the scales and bone spurs on his body were somewhat broken. He could also sense that there was not much energy left in his body. He was a little frightened and said, "Black Mountain, why were you beaten so badly? Does that spirit realm creature really have the strength of a mid-stage demon emperor?" Black Mountain shook his body and flew out of the pit on the ground. He was silent for a moment and said, "His strength should not have reached that level, but his ability should not be worse than a mid-stage demon emperor. However, I was beaten like this in such a short time. I underestimated the enemy." Underestimated the enemy? What do you mean? That monster has a powerful energy absorption ability that can even affect the primordial spirit of a devil king. It seized control of the devil yuan chi around Blackhorn and me from the very beginning. Let's talk as we walk. Luo Yu and the others have already caught up. Although they won't be defeated, they don't have the confidence to kill them. Let's hurry back and activate the Mirage Dream Thunderlight. All right. Fat Demon Monarch injected another ball of dark purple energy into Black Mountain's body. The two demons stood side by side, communicating with their divine sense while flying towards the spatial tunnel. Somewhere in the demonic fog, Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian's two-headed, four-armed body was flying at an astonishing speed. There were also 3 souls communicating with each other inside their bodies. Hong Yuntian asked, "Xiao Jin, are those 3 demon emperors still chasing us?" The little monkey's nervous voice sounded, "Yes, it sounds like the 3 of them have formed some kind of special battle formation and are chasing after us from more than 500 feet away. Although they are fast, they are about the same as us. It should be very difficult to catch up with them." Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian breathed a sigh of relief. They naturally wouldn't doubt Xiao Jin's judgment. The little monkey's talent had become more and more terrifying as its cultivation increased. Even its cultivation speed was the same. After 80 years of cultivation, it had almost stepped into the middle stage of bone transformation without any hindrance. Although the long-armed demon ape bloodline in Lu Kuan's body had been cleared, as Xiao Jin entered the middle stage of bone transformation, the bloodline connection between the two had become even closer. Lu Kuan even had a premonition that as long as he broke through a realm, the little monkey would be able to pass through it without any hindrance. It was as if it was replicating his cultivation realm. Hong Yuntian recalled the battle just now and said with some regret, "It's a pity. I have already sensed that the Demon Emperor's body doesn't have much energy left. If we had attacked for a while more, we should have been able to destroy it. If we could have captured the corpse of a demon emperor, it would have been much more precious than a demon king. Lu Kuan's tone was calm as he said, "In this demonic qi environment, we have already erupted with our strongest supernatural powers. In just a few dozen breaths of time, we have killed a demon king and severely injured a demon emperor. This is already a good result. Moreover, there are only 3 demon emperors chasing after us. This is much better than the worst-case scenario we had expected. My demonic energy and blood essence, as well as Brother Hong's blood essence and demonic energy, are much more vigorous than before. At the very least, we can maintain this combined state for half a day. It should be enough for us to reach the edge of the demonic fog. At that time, we will be able to use our spiritual energy to display the strongest supernatural powers of the snow-souled dual blades." He sounded eager as he said, "With the help of the underworld spirit crystal, our physical bodies can completely unleash a strength of 3,400,000 kilograms. This is a full 70% more than the Demon Emperor's full elemental power. The snow-souled dual blades just now couldn't defeat the combined forces of 3 Demon Emperors. However, with this level of strength, coupled with the physical manifestation technique and the frenzied demonic intense golden blade light, let's see if these 3 fellows can take it. It's good to try out the supernatural powers of a few demon emperors working together. However, speaking of which, Hong Yuntian said with some excitement, "This new combat technique that you have developed not only has a terrifying suction force, but it is also equivalent to a small-scale elemental energy restriction domain. In the end, it even sucked out the Demon King's primordial spirit forcefully. It's extremely domineering." Lu Kuan sighed and said, "Speaking of which, it's also a coincidence. This swirling light was inspired by the process of the formation of the internal organs and dantian." "Internal organs and dantian?" Lu Kuan explained. "Actually, when internal organs and dantian were first formed, I felt that there was another way to control the full elemental power, which is to collapse inwards. This will create an even stronger suction force." Hong Yuntian somewhat understood. "So you're using the collapse of the full elemental power through the void condensation technique?" Lu Kuan said, "That's right. All these years, I've been thinking about how to convert it into a combat technique. Previously, when I helped Xiong Shan delay the heavenly lightning tribulation, I used my physical body as a rotating disc to compress the swirling void force. This is one of the ways to execute it. I've only deduced the swirling light method, but I'm not confident that I can execute it. However, when we transform into our 2-headed, 4-armed form, and our physical strength increases to more than 3 million kilograms, there's a possibility of forcefully activating this supernatural power. Originally, I was planning to convert it into an origin energy vortex if it failed. I didn't expect to succeed on the first try." Hong Yuntian exclaimed. "The collapse of the force field and the origin energy of the physical body are really strange. If I'm not mistaken, the primordial spirit of the Demon King was sucked into the swirling light in the end." Lu Kuan heard this and paused for a while before saying, "Brother Hong, do you remember when I accidentally broke through to the Zongyuan stage? The essence qi that was produced almost stripped the essence qi of Fairy Beihin's essence qi from the heaven and earth essence qi?" Hong Yuntian was stunned. "You mean this swirling light is similar to the phenomenon of refining the essence qi of the blood meridians?" Lu Kuan said uncertainly, "There should be a connection. However, when the essence qi of the blood meridians is refined, the blood meridian pool in the internal organs and dantian will be strengthened by the full elemental power and the physical body's immortal will. The range of the heaven and earth essence qi will be much larger. If you enter the Zongyuan stage, you could try to use the swirling light at the same time as the swirling light." Hong Yuntian thought and said, "The divine powers and dharma spells of soul formation cultivators are performed with the help of the primordial spirit and true essence. The primordial spirit of a physique cultivator is the essence qi of the blood meridians. If you compare the two, the combination of the essence chi of the physique cultivator's essence chi might produce a special effect. The two of them seemed to have discovered something strange during their conversation. Suddenly, they both fell silent. At this moment, the little monkey suddenly said in bewilderment, "Strange, other than the 3 devil emperors behind us, the other devils, including the remaining 2 devil emperors, are all gathered in the spatial passage. It sounds like they are arranged in a giant array, and there are more than a dozen devils chanting strange incantations." Right, the demon emperor that we injured said something about the Mirage Thunderlight. Mirage Thunderlight? Lu Kuan immediately put away his thoughts and asked in a low voice, "What's the situation with the demon emperor that was chasing us?" Xiao Jin said, "It's still 5,000 feet away. We haven't closed the distance by much." At this moment, it hesitated and said, "These demon emperors seem to have another way of communication. It's similar to the sound transmission talisman. I didn't hear them moving together." Hong Yuntian said, "Our sound transmission talisman can only be used in the outermost area. This is the demon emperor's array. Naturally, they have the means to transmit messages. We should be careful. Wait, that dimension crack." Their fused divine sense suddenly discovered that in the dimension crack in front of them, in addition to the purple-black clouds, there were also streaks of dark purple lightning surging out. The 2-headed, 4-armed body twisted and bypassed the dimension crack. But then they discovered that it wasn't just the dimension crack. In the surrounding fog, there were streaks of lightning. A distorted force field spread forward. But what surprised Lu Kuan was that the origin chi of the physique cultivator could squeeze out the demon mist. But when it passed through the lightning, it had no effect at all. It was as if the two had no intersection. Is this the Mirage Thunderlight? It came from the dimension crack. Maybe it's from the demon realm. Don't hit it. The lightning doesn't seem to make any sound. I can't hear any movement at all. The expressions of Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian's heads suddenly became serious. The 2-headed, 4-armed body turned left and right, constantly dodging. But as they flew, there were more and more lightning in the surrounding fog. It was as if they were flying in dense thunderclouds. Sizzle! There was a sound that sounded like a flame being ignited. One of their legs had accidentally hit a bolt of lightning. Chapter 1340. Not good. This thing targets the soul. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian's soul consciousness immediately discovered that the dark purple lightning that hit their feet was fiercely intertwining with the golden soul consciousness on the surface of their bodies. After only 1 or 2 breaths of time, a small hole appeared on the layer of pale golden soul consciousness on their feet. This 2-headed, 4-armed body that was flying rapidly in the void seemed to have lost its footing while running. It staggered and somersaulted, hitting a few more lightning bolts in the mist. More holes appeared on the golden soul consciousness membrane on the surface of its body. Lu Kuan had yet to truly enter the Zongyuan stage. Although his body and divine sense had reached the stage of great success in the central nervous system, he could only freely control the 1 yuan power. His body and nerves were still unable to control the remaining 400,000 kilograms. The 2-headed, 4-armed body that he and Hong Yuntian had fused with had a strength of 3,400,000 pounds. In order to control such a terrifying strength, they could only use the pure mind power in the dark spirit crystal to fuse their bodies and soul consciousness together, just like how they had fused with each other. The golden light membrane on the surface of their bodies represented the control of their fused soul consciousness. If a piece was missing, the muscles in that area would lose a certain amount of control. The lightning bolt that hit their feet directly caused a chain reaction. The 2-headed, 4-armed body crashed randomly in the demonic mist. The invisible force field around its body was constantly distorted. Sometimes it was 9 feet, sometimes it was 6 feet, sometimes it was 5 feet, and sometimes it was 5 feet. Its speed was greatly reduced. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian felt this and did not hesitate to deactivate the fusion divine ability. On the 2-headed, 4-armed body, the pair of arms engraved with dark black totem patterns and the horse-faced head quickly melted into liquid. They wrapped around the dark spirit crystal between their necks and retracted along the spine and the shoulder blades on both sides. This deformed body quickly returned to Lu Kuan's appearance. The chaotic surrounding was stabilized at 5 feet by the force field. Lu Kuan's face was solemn. The light in his body flashed. His hands and feet stepped on the void again and shot in the original direction. However, due to the removal of the fusion divine ability, the pure spiritual power of the underworld spirit crystal could not be used. Now, he could only use 1 yuan of power. Although his flying speed mainly relied on the 200 bone treasures, it was still 30% lower than before. In addition to the sharp decrease in his flying speed, Lu Kuan also collided with even more lightning. His body had already been imprinted with a deep purple color. Dozens of lightning bolts were crazily moving within his body, but they were all blocked by a violent and unyielding will. Hong Yuntian's heavy voice came from within his body. Lu Kuan, this thing specifically targets the soul. I'm afraid its power has reached the limits of this realm. My will won't be able to hold on for long. The limit of the realm, the peak of the mid-divine transformation stage. Lu Kuan revealed a look of disbelief, but when he thought about how this demonic fog array formation was set up through a spatial rift, it was very likely that the other side was a demon sovereign of the demon race. Brother Hong, activate your true demon bloodline and use your bloodline power and willpower to protect your soul. Then what about you? I have my ways. All right. The two's communication was completed in the blink of an eye. Hong Yuntian immediately took action. He gathered the essence of his flesh and blood into a purple-black ball of flesh and curled it up at the edge of Lu Kuan's internal organs. The surface of the ball of flesh tumbled with blood that contained a brutal will. It twisted and condensed into a crystal. Lu Kuan's blood essence that contained the will of madness and Hong Yuntian's bloodline that was filled with the will of the true demon could both use the blood crystallization method to seal willpower. Naturally, they had the ability to resist such a soul attack. The true demon bloodline crystallization outside Hong Yuntian's ball of flesh was the first line of defense. The second line of defense was the powerful, unyielding will, using 2 lines of defense to protect his soul. But in the face of such a soul defense method, the deep purple lightning did not seem to be afraid. They directly separated a ball of lightning to wrap around the ball of flesh, and the rest continued to explore other parts of the body. When Hong Yuntian had shrunk into a ball of flesh, Lu Kuan had retracted his soul into his spinal cord. At the same time, he had activated his divine sense concealment ability. These lightning bolts swept past his spinal cord and skull in succession, but did not seem to discover his soul. I didn't expect my divine sense concealment ability to be so powerful. Even just as Lu Kuan was slightly relieved, a panicked voice suddenly came from a soft rib in his body. Lu Kuan, the speed of the 3 demon emperors is not affected by the lightning bolts. They are only 4,000 feet away from us. When Lu Kuan heard this, his face suddenly changed. His chest trembled, and he roared in ventriloquism. Xiao Jin, quickly use the blood crystallization method to protect your soul. Before he finished speaking, the deep purple lightning bolts in his body seemed to have discovered something. They all rushed into the soft rib that Xiao Jin was in. The little monkey let out a cry of surprise. Immediately after, the soft rib emitted a turbulent blood energy fluctuation. Xiao Jin had the bloodline of the 6-eared macaque, which also contained the intent of frenzy. It was not inferior to the intent of the giant long-armed ape, so it also had a certain level of resistance. Lu Kuan, what do we do? This energy is so powerful. The blood crystallization method won't be able to hold on for long. The little monkey's panicked voice came from a soft rib. Don't panic, calm your mind. Lu Kuan thought of a countermeasure in his mind as his 4 limbs rapidly slid through the void. In order to increase his speed, he decided not to evade the lightning bolts in the dark clouds. Instead, he focused on running. These strange things are clearly the special techniques of the mirage lightning light and demonic fog formation. It looks like the entire demonic fog is filled with this kind of energy. We won't be able to fly out in a short time. This is a divine sense concealment ability that targets one's soul. Furthermore, it's at the pinnacle of the soul formation intermediate stage. Brother Hong and Xiao Jin won't be able to hold on for long. With my full nascent power, I'm no match for the three-headed demonic emperor. Furthermore, if they surround me and suppress me with their origin energy field, I won't even have a chance to escape. Lu Kuan gritted his teeth so hard that sparks flew from the friction between his teeth. His eyes were extremely red, and his brain was working furiously. No, there must be a solution, even if it's the worst one. The current danger is these lightning bolts. If Brother Hong and Xiao Jin souls are injured, I won't have a chance to escape from the three-headed demonic emperor alone. I have to get rid of the mirage lightning light. Without Xiao Jin's guidance, I won't be able to find the spatial passageway in this demonic fog. I won't be able to destroy the demonic emperor's spell. Since I can't get rid of the source, then I have to think of a way to isolate the mirage lightning light from my body. As long as the spiritual energy light membrane can be reformed, I'll be able to regain my full strength. The blood crystallization method will be of some help in isolating the mirage lightning light. Brother Hong's unyielding will also be able to resist it. That's right, if I have the willpower of the mid-soul formation stage, will I be able to isolate this strange method? Frenzied demonic will. As he thought of this, Lu Kuan's eyes suddenly lit up. In this case, although I won't be able to break through, the Snow Soul dual blades are different. Brother Hong and I are much stronger than when we were refining the dual blades. We can completely merge the demonic spirit dual blades in our bodies and produce the frenzied demonic will. Then, with the help of this powerful merged willpower, together with the unyielding will and the blood crystallization method, we can expel the mirage lightning light. But just as he was thinking of a solution, the little monkey's sleepy voice came from the soft rib cage. Lu Kuan, I can't resist it. I'm so sleepy. Then Lu Kuan heard a slight snoring sound coming from inside. He couldn't help but be stunned. The mirage lightning light has the word dream in it. Does it mean that the divine soul will fall asleep? At this time, the crystallized flesh and blood ball that Hong Yuntian had turned into also started to tremble. A vague vibration sound came from it. Lu Kuan, this lightning light is already attacking my unyielding will. Have you thought of a solution? Lu Kuan's chest shook violently. He said ventriloquism. Yes, Brother Hong. Let's merge the Snow Soul dual blades in our bodies and use the frenzied demonic will to resist this mirage lightning light. Frenzied demonic will? In my body? What should I do? I will be affected and fall into a dream at any time. The Snow Soul dual blades are now wrapped around your internal organs. Attach the essence of your flesh and blood to the demonic blade. Then then Hong Yuntian's flesh and blood ball, like a pool of thick blood, attached to the Snow Soul demonic blade outside Lu Kuan's internal organs. Then there was no movement. It seemed that Hong Yuntian's divine soul had also fallen into a deep sleep. Chapter 1341. The ancestor of body cultivators was updated during the day. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to get the latest update. Chapter 1342. What pain in the ass. Every time there's a limited update, there's always a problem. I have to go back to Magic City on Saturday afternoon to update. I have to calculate what I owe. In any case, it's about the spirit world, so logically speaking, I should be able to pay it back. Requesting leave for the ancestor of body cultivators, currently in progress. Please wait for a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page again to receive the latest update. Chapter 1343. Brother Hong. Lu Kuan's chest trembled. He found that Hong Yuntian's flesh ball did not react at all. There was only deep purple lightning pulsing inside. Like Xiao Jin, he had fallen into a deep sleep. This mirage thunderlight. Lu Kuan clenched his fists. His eyes became calmer. In the past few hundred years of cultivation, he had encountered many crises. He knew very well that the more dangerous the situation was, the calmer he had to deal with it. Only by generating a frenzied demonic will there is a chance to expel the mirage thunder light in my body. Brother Hong has fallen into a dream and lost consciousness, but his flesh and blood essence is still in his body. I can completely control his flesh and blood. Although I don't know the flesh clone ability, I have a flesh clone divine sense mystic technique. Lu Kuan's brain spun rapidly. He immediately thought of a mystic technique that he had created not long ago. This flesh clone divine sense mystic technique was a mystic technique that combined essence blood and divine sense into another person's body, grafting the body's nervous system. When Xiangshan was transcending the tribulation, he used this mystic technique to help him quickly condense his body. As long as the body was weaker than Lu Kuan's, the nervous system would be controlled by the flesh clone divine sense. The degree of control depended on the resistance of the nervous system. Although his body was much stronger than Xiangshan's, if the other party resisted, Lu Kuan could at most affect the control of the body. He could not completely control it. However, at this moment, Hong Yuntian's divine sense was in a deep sleep. The nervous system of the flesh and blood could only resist instinctively. With Lu Kuan's powerful body and divine sense, he could completely control it. No, if the divine sense clone is separated like this, it will be out of hiding. If it is affected by the mirage thunderlight, it might affect the main divine sense. The risk is too great. Lu Kuan clenched his teeth. He was very clear in his heart that if he were to face 3 demon emperors with a clear mind, he might have a chance of escaping. But if his divine sense caused his main divine soul to fall into a deep slumber, he would definitely die. Moreover, his human body was stronger than demons of the same level. If he fell into the hands of the demons, the consequences would be worse than death. Wait, there is another way. Lu Kuan kept analyzing his mind. Divine soul concealment technique. If I let this talent from the unknown Thunderbird protect my son's divine sense, I can ensure the safety of the main spirit. In the earliest days, this divine ability could hide one's soul in the depths of one's sea of consciousness and avoid the soul spells of immortal cultivators. Later, when the body and divine were first formed and the divine soul lived in the spine, it was still able to use it successfully, hiding it deep inside the spine. In such a state, the willpower of the soul formation cultivators, the shock waves of the nether spirit crystal, and even this terrifying thunder mirage couldn't affect the divine soul. Since the spine is the residence of the soul, I can transform my essence blood into the shape of the spine. In that case, will the soul fragments inside be able to perform the soul concealment technique too? I don't care anymore. I can only take the risk and try. Lu Kuan thought of a way to control the essence of Hong Yuntian's flesh and blood in a few breaths. Although there was a lot of risk at this critical moment, he couldn't hesitate. The essence blood in his body quickly surged. When Lu Kuan was at the middle stage of bone transformation, he created a supernatural power called the Divine Spine Pillar, which allowed him to store his soul avatar in the spine refined from demon bone materials. Now, that he was using his own blood to store the spine, it was naturally much easier. Soon, the blood near the cervical vertebra condensed into a small section of the spine the size of a thumb. A wisp of obscure divine sense penetrated into it. The surrounding dark purple lightning seemed to have found something and quickly gathered here. But when they fell on the small spine, they seemed to have found nothing and continued to wander around. It worked. Lu Kuan was refreshed. Under his control, the small spine rushed into the liquid flesh of Hong Yuntian. The latter writhed as if it had been electrocuted. It extended a tiny black tentacle that looked like a blood vessel and pierced into a soft rib. Wisps of liquid that contained brutal were sucked out by the blood vessel of the tentacle. At the same time, Lu Kuan's internal organs also condensed inwards, turning into a ball of flesh. The Snow Soul dual blades were wrapped around the outside. The grayish-black demon blade was on the left, and the silver-white spirit blade was on the right. Countless black tentacles gushed out of Hong Yuntian's liquid flesh and blood essence. They spread out on the surface of the demon blade with the small blood ball of his sleeping soul as the center, outlining a dense and complicated totem pattern. Before entering the Broken Kingdom, Lu Kuan and the others had been researching the method of refining the frenzied demonic will. The safest method was to use the Snow Soul dual blades to transfer the true demon bloodline. This totem pattern was the most suitable true demon pattern that the two of them had analyzed from the totem manifested from Hong Yuntian's physical body. As the black liquid containing a brutal will covered the left half of the demon blade, Lu Kuan's blood essence also began to gather on the other half of the spirit blade. A dense aura of the frenzied demonic was surging inside. But just as Lu Kuan was controlling the blood essence in his body, the surrounding demonic mist suddenly roiled violently. 3 enormous invisible forces descended from the sky. That incomparably violent force stirred up the dense demonic yuan energy in the surroundings. A black halo quickly gathered, forming 3 black demonic yuan energy hands that were about 3 feet long. Not only did they contain the enormous pressure of demonic yuan energy, they also carried astonishing strength as they pressed down on Lu Kuan's body. Not good, they've caught up. Lu Kuan turned his head to look. He saw that the 3 demon emperors had unknowingly arrived 20 feet away. Their bodies were surrounded by deep purple lightning, forming a triangular formation. Demonic mist rippled around their bodies. He understood with a single glance that the 3 demon emperors had withdrawn their passive force fields. The surrounding 3 demonic palms were formed by long-range force fields, similar to the void condensing spirit art. They relied on the terrifying power of 1 yuan to forcefully condense demonic yuan energy. The source force field around Lu Kuan's body roiled endlessly, operating in the manner of the severing fist. But no matter how he urged it, he was unable to absorb the surrounding demonic yuan energy. The yuan energy in this space seemed to be sealed by the 3 demonic palms. There seems to be some kind of connection between their long-range force fields. Their absorption ability has almost doubled. Wait a minute, the Demon Emperor's long-range force fields are only 20 feet long. Lu Kuan narrowed his eyes and suddenly discovered something. With a thought, the source force field on the surface of his body shrank inwards. His body began to rotate. His entire body was like a conical drill bit, drilling into the gap between the 3 demonic palms formed by yuan energy. However, the 3 solid yuan energy demonic palms seemed to have sensed something. The demonic patterns on them immediately twisted, and the force fields contained within condensed in one direction. They almost instantly superimposed on each other, blocking the silver drill bit. Accompanied by the sound of explosions, Lu Kuan's spiraling force field, relying on his astonishing speed and the power of the bone treasure, only managed to drill a hole in the first demonic palm before his body stopped. Immediately after, the 3 demonic palms shone brightly and suddenly squeezed inwards. Boom! The violent energy, mixed with the waves of yuan energy, rolled in all directions. The silver source force field that twisted into a spiral around Lu Kuan's body shattered with a loud bang. The skin below also cracked inch by inch, revealing the silver and red muscles. These muscles were all taut, and the lines of the muscles were prominent. There were also traces of treasure light flashing on them. The remaining power of the energy bombarded them, but did not cause any damage. And in this moment of delay, 3 tall figures flashing with dark purple lightning surrounded him. At the same time, 3 invisible forces squeezed towards the middle. Lu Kuan's face sank. The demonic energy in his body surged. The bone treasure shone brightly, and the passive force field around his body reappeared. The invisible forces of the 2 sides quickly collided. The spiraling airwaves surged in the surroundings. The force field of the three demon emperors was first in a stalemate with Lu Kuan's force field for a moment, and then traces of dark purple lightning emerged from within. Boom! These three force fields seemed to have opened up some kind of connection. Their power increased greatly, and they quickly squeezed inwards. What happened to the Black Mountain Demon Emperor before was reversed this time, and Lu Kuan's source force field was continuously defeated. The Demon Emperor's demonic energy can merge with their force fields. They have a joint secret technique. The force field is very powerful, and its range is also 1 foot larger than mine. Lu Kuan's eyes narrowed. A crazed look emerged in them, and a violent power of blood rose. So what if you are stronger than me? Lu Kuan, don't need to fight with you now. Defense. I only need to focus on defense now. It won't be long before the frenzied, demonic energy in my body can successfully merge. While thinking, a large amount of silver blood gushed out from Lu Kuan's exposed muscle fibers. It was like water condensing into ice, quickly solidifying, forming a layer of bone-like armor on the surface of his body. And as the blood increased, the thickness of this layer of armor continued to increase. Chapter 1344. Led by Lu Ou, the bald demon emperor, 3 demon emperors, each about 10 feet tall, with the totems on their faces emitting black light, surrounded Lu Kuan. The passive force field outside their bodies resonated with each other under the shuttling of the dark purple lightning, constantly squeezing the latter's source force field. Lu Kuan's expression was solemn. While the force field was still resisting, his body suddenly curled up. He hugged his chest, bent his knees, and buried his head in his chest. From the gaps of his limbs, clouds of silver blood gushed out. They condensed into solid bones, and his entire body turned into a rock-like sphere made of silver bones. This monster's consciousness is still clear. The Mirage Thunderlight is actually ineffective against him. It may not be ineffective. Didn't you see that his other head and a pair of arms have disappeared? His strength has also dropped to the level of an early-stage demon emperor. Then why does this guy still have the consciousness to escape and even take the initiative to use defensive means? Maybe he's supported by some kind of divine soul defense. No matter how long his divine soul can resist, his strength is declining. Let's destroy him in one go. Several demon emperors communicated quickly. In 2 or 3 breaths of time, Lu Kuan's passive force field was completely crushed. The violent, invisible force hit the silver bone sphere. The surface of the latter trembled violently as if it was under great pressure. Clouds of silver blood rose from it, and the surface of the seemingly solid bone armor even showed cracks. Then 6 huge scaled fists with bone spurs, mixed with a terrifying force, fiercely bombarded in. Gotcha! Those fist-sized bone spikes pierced into the cracks in the bone armor from 3 different directions. However, they soon encountered some kind of obstruction. Half of the foot-long bone spikes barely managed to penetrate into the armor before stopping with the sound of metal clashing against metal. The 3 demon emperors were slightly stunned. Then, they felt a powerful, invisible force surging out from the opponent's body, forcibly squeezing out their exhausted fists. What is that thing, harder than our bone spurs? Can the body radiate a force field? This layer of bone armor is full of vitality and seems to be transformed from blood. He has the aura of brutality in his body, and there are also the blood marks that Heishan mentioned before. Could he have a high-level bloodline of our Saint clan? Although the 3-headed demon emperor's fists didn't manage to break through the other party's defenses, he could sense a lot of auras, and a look of surprise flashed across his face. This monster's current strength was only 2 million kilograms, which was equivalent to an early-stage demon emperor. The range of its power field was 5 feet, which was 1 foot less than theirs. However, it could radiate out from its body. When Fang Xingjian was fighting against the Black Mountain Demon King earlier, this monster was in the form of 2 heads and 4 arms. Its kinetic field was 9 feet long, and its physical strength had reached over 3 million jin. It was even able to radiate a long-range force field of 500 feet. However, the two heads and forearms seemed to have lost their effectiveness after being hit by the lightning mirage. It seemed to be some kind of special physical mystique. Some kind of armor made of blood gushed out from the monster's body. This kind of bone armor that covered the body was something they had only seen on the bodies of insects. The monster in front of them had the bloodline of another insect tribe. All kinds of strange phenomena made the three-headed demon emperors very excited. If they could capture this monster and study its body, would they be able to study a similar special mystique? It should be known that in the demon clan, physical mystiques were extremely rare. Those who possessed them would either have inherited a high-level demon emperor bloodline, or they would have advanced into a demon emperor as a demon emperor. Thinking of this, the three-headed demon emperors looked at the silver armor with greed in their eyes. The invisible force field around them fluctuated even more violently. The surrounding demon yuan qi condensed and fell on their fists and the bone spurs on their joints, dyeing them with a thick layer of black halo. Then, 6 fists, several bone spurs on their elbows and knees, followed by a series of afterimages, bombarded the silver armor like a storm. Under the force field of the 3 demon emperors, the silver bone ball was almost fixed in midair, unable to move. It was like a live target, enduring the continuous bombardment from all directions. Boom, boom, boom. Continuous booming sounds could be heard, and the cracks in the silver armor expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. The powerful blood chi power inside kept on rising, as if it was repairing the cracked bones. The attacks of the 3 demon emperors did not go too deep. They knew that the silver armor could radiate force fields, and they wanted to capture its body. Therefore, they kept on attacking the bone armor outside, trying to deplete its blood. Violent air waves kept on rolling, and the surrounding demon fog kept on rippling. It was like a huge wave rising in the sea, and under the powerful vibration, it surged in all directions. The demon fog in the surrounding 1,000 to 2,000 feet was cleared, and it kept on expanding. However, the thunder mirage dream in the surroundings was not affected at all, and it kept on rippling in this empty area. The surrounding spatial cracks continued to surge out bolts of lightning that contained dreamland. Under the continuous attacks of the 3-headed demon emperors, the repairing speed of the silver bone ball could not keep up with the speed of the cracking. The gaps and cracks on the surface of the bone ball became bigger and bigger. However, just as this thick layer of bone armor was about to shatter, strips of silver-red flesh suddenly surged out from the cracks. They were like vines that were made of muscle fibers, and they grew in the cracks of the bone ball. These thick muscle fibers that were like vines shuttled and twisted in the cracks, as if they were releasing some kind of shocking power. This terrifying power flowed on the bone armor. At the same time, some patterns that looked like capillaries spread out from the muscle fibers and soon covered the entire surface of the bone ball. The solid bone armor seemed to change its form. It was soft at times and hard at times. There was also an invisible power that kept on flowing on it. The 3 demon emperors immediately felt that the material of the bone ball had become incomparably tough. When their power hit it, there would be a considerable rebound and buffering force. The thick muscle fibers and the thin fibers that looked like capillaries were like countless needles and threads that weaved the hard bone layer together, weaving into some kind of armor with stronger defense. The defense has become stronger. What's going on with these flesh fibers? Can the other party's body be moved at will? The defense has indeed increased, but it still seems like it will consume a lot of blood essence. I don't believe that his blood essence is endless. No, there seems to be a change. As soon as the demon emperors communicated with their consciousness, they felt a strong and unyielding willpower rise from the bone ball. This willpower seemed to be unyielding in the face of any difficulty or danger. On the surface of the silver bone ball, the layer of invisible force that was produced by the vibration of the muscle fibers seemed to undergo some kind of special change under this willpower. A faint glow emerged, and it seemed to be plated with a layer of strange light film on the armor. The Demon Emperor's demonic Yuan Qi power that came from the attack collided with this layer of light film, and a small part of it dissipated. The willpower of the human race? That can't be right. Previously, we sensed the brutal willpower of our race in his body. Why is there another willpower now? A godly soul can only fuse with one willpower. Does the other party have two godly souls in his body? This willpower energy is not strong. Logically speaking, it should be completely suppressed by the Mirage Thunderlight. How can it still manifest? Not only that, I also sense an incomparably wild willpower in his flesh just now. How is it possible that this monster has 3 willpowers? The strongest Demon Emperor, the bald Demon Emperor, said with a solemn expression, "Remember Lord Demon Emperor's mission. This monster is the first priority target to be killed. Its supernatural powers are ever-changing. To be cautious, we should use all our demonic Yuan Qi to attack. Don't think about preserving his body. Destroy it directly." Okay, hearing the bald Demon Emperor's words, the other 2 Demon Emperors felt a little regretful, but they did not have any objections. Deep purple lightning surged out of their tall bodies. This energy converged towards their fists and the bone spurs at their joints. Amidst the black halo of Demon Yuan Qi, purple lightning was constantly leaping about. A strange pressure emerged, seemingly mixed with some kind of destructive aura. Chapter 1345. What's going on, Brother Hongs? Well, inside the silver bone ball, when Lu Kuan discovered this violent, unyielding will, he was also a little stunned. He quickly used his flesh and blood to sense the black flesh and blood essence on the left side of the inner ball. The true demonic blood tattoo was still under his control, continuously sending the brutal intent to the Snow Soul Devil Blade. However, the small ball that enveloped Hong Yuntian's consciousness was trembling nonstop, surging with an unyielding intent, as if it could not differentiate between friend and foe. If not for the fact that Lu Kuan's divine soul had concealed itself, this violent would have caused an impact on him. This Mirage Thunderlight not only makes people sleepy, but also makes people fall into some kind of dream. Otherwise, Brother Hans would not fluctuate so violently. What did he dream of? The unyielding will combine with the flesh and blood outside my body. It seems to be subconsciously using his will to protect himself. Lu Kuan felt the halo of willpower on the armor outside his body, and he was amazed. At first, he used the bone armor of the late bone transformation stage to protect his body with his incomparably thick blood to resist the attack of the Demon Emperors. But then he discovered that the combat power of the 3 Demon Emperors was terrifying. Not only could they fuse with each other's source force field, but the bone spurs on their body were no less than a demon weapon, and their attack speed was even better. Under this stormy attack, the bone armor didn't last long before it was almost broken. However, this round of passive defense also made Lu Kuan aware of a weakness of the Demon Emperors. The other party didn't seem to be able to use source force combat skills. The use of the power field only had compression and suction force, as well as borrowing force from the void. It was completely different from the bone transformation stage body cultivators. This led to the attack of the Demon Emperor's fists and bone spurs. In addition to the power of Yuan Qi manifestation, although it contained 2 million gene of force, it was pure brute force, and the direction of force was only one. So Lu Kuan was quick-witted and added the flesh and blood transformation magical power of the middle bone transformation stage to the bone armor. The blood was transformed into muscle fibers, which were inserted into the cracks of the bone armor. Below the hard bones were the muscle fibers transformed from blood, and below the muscle fibers was the bone. One was hard and one was soft. They overlapped and intertwined with each other like a soft and sturdy armor that wrapped around the curled-up body. The muscle fibers in the armor were still contracting, and according to the method of the vibrating origin palm, the Uni-Yuan force was rippling, buffering, and separating the barbaric power of the Demon Emperor. At this critical moment, Lu Kuan quickly modified the bone armor divine ability, turning it into a flesh armor. However, he didn't expect that Hong Yuntian's unyielding would also be imbued on it, allowing this layer of armor to have the ability to weaken Yuan Qi. While my defense has increased, I should quickly fuse with the frenzied demonic will. Lu Kuan wasn't in the mood to explore Hong Yuntian's dreamscape. He was fully focused on controlling the left and right sides of the ball of innards, continuously transferring the brutal will and frenzy will. Within the Snow Soul Twin Blades, Shui Er's weapon spirits was also doing its best to absorb the two types of wills. But because most of Lu Kuan's blood essence was used for defense, the speed of the frenzied will gathering was much slower. Boom! At this moment, Lu Kuan suddenly felt several more terrifying impacts coming from the flesh armor. The impact of 2 million kilograms, the power of the Yuan Qi manifestation, was mostly blocked by the armor, but the bone spikes were surrounded by deep purple energy, as if they had a special suppressive effect on flesh. They easily pierced through the outermost layer of the armor, and then the unique lightning energy of the Demon Emperor poured into the armor. Demon Race's demon ability? Strange, the aura of this demon ability is completely different from that of the fake Demon Emperor. It has a special destructive aura. Not good. My flesh armor. Lu Kuan suddenly realized that the lightning energy shuttling and was disintegrating the armor outside his body. Whether it was the muscle fibers transformed by blood or the bones, they were all softening, as if they were being restrained by this power, constantly degenerating and melting. This energy is a bit like the aura of the fake Demon Emperor's self-destruction. Brother Hong, you said that the demonic energy of a fake Devil Emperor has the ability to nourish the body of a Devil Emperor. The demonic energy of the Devil Emperor that I severely injured earlier was the same. How could it possess such destructive power? Hold on. Lu Kuan suddenly thought of something. This is similar to the demon ability of a bone transformation body cultivator. When our demon ability leaves the body without the support of life force, it still has a terrifying destructive power. While thinking, the thick silver energy within Lu Kuan's body began to boil. It gushed out from his curled-up body, rushing towards the outermost layer of the flesh armor. As it was about to come into contact with the deep purple lightning energy, Lu Kuan instantly extracted the life force within. Two completely different destructive auras intertwined. Bang! Several holes were blasted open on the flesh armor. The lightning energy disappeared, and then silver blood gushed out, quickly repairing the holes. Lu Kuan felt the state of the armor, his heart growing heavier. Although he had eliminated the strange energy of the Demon Emperor, this had accelerated the consumption of his blood essence. The frenzied will condense even slower. This won't do. I have to find a way to speed it up. I brought a lot of seed stones from the Mountain of Vows. At the same time, I can absorb the bloodline and the frenzied will. Lu Kuan multitasked. He quickly mobilized the blood essence within his body, turning it into a blood vessel and extending it into a rib space. The three demon emperors outside discovered that they had lost contact with their demon essence energy when the small holes were blasted open on the surface of the flesh armor. Demon essence energy can restrain the bodies of other races. This armor is also made of flesh and blood, so how can it be ineffective? This fellow seems to have a special energy within his body. Humph! Although I didn't disintegrate his flesh and blood supernatural power, I can feel that his blood is being consumed even faster. Damn it! If it weren't for this fellow's amazing speed, we would have used weapons. The three demon emperors had ugly expressions. Their opponents' strange defensive methods were strange. The best way to deal with them was to use weapons and use top-grade demon artifacts to attack. Although demon artifacts were extremely powerful against demon kings, against demon emperors like them, the weapons could only unleash their strongest power by increasing the distance and absorbing enough demon essence energy. However, if the distance was too far with the opponent's force field and speed, it would be difficult for the demon artifacts to hit him. They could only surround him and trap him with force fields to be absolutely safe. Continue to attack. We can only exhaust him to death now. The lightning-like demon essence energy within the three demon emperors became even more turbulent. Roar. Suddenly, an extremely resentful roar came from the gap of the bone armor. The voice was like that of an angry beast, but also like that of a young ape. Immediately after, a strong sense of resentment, mixed with an incomparably frenzied aura, rose from the ball of flesh and bone. The two wills intertwined and condensed into the illusion of an ape. This ape had a body of golden hair and looked a little thin. Its eyes were red, and the most eye-catching thing was the ears on both sides of its head. They looked like three intertwined half-moon petals. A six-eared demon beast? What the hell is this? Resentment will, the fourth will. How many godly souls are there in this monster's body? The three demon emperors couldn't understand where this strange ape illusion came from, and what that sense of resentment was. Don't waste time. Continue to attack. However, just as the demon emperors raised their bone spurs, an even stranger scene appeared before their eyes. Chapter 1346. This six-eared ape phantom faced the sky and let out a silent roar. Its eyes were filled with endless resentment. It suddenly opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and fiercely bit down on the ball of flesh and bone in front of it. Following this bite, the entire ape illusion melted into it. Xiao Jin. Squeak. The three-headed demon emperor heard two short screams. The former sounded like the human language, while the latter sounded like the unconscious cry of an ape. Then, the ball of flesh and bones inexplicably swelled up, and a bloodline aura that was mixed with hatred and frenzied will rolled out from within. What kind of ape is this? It has 6 ears, and its aura seems similar to the long-armed ape monkey. Why is this illusion devouring itself? Multiple wills means multiple souls. The mirage dream lightning will trigger the most terrifying dream in the depths of the soul. In other words, this monster is suffering from the backlash of multiple souls. But the unyielding will from before is still helping him to defend. That should be his main soul, and his main soul is human. This is our chance. The three demon emperors communicated with their divine senses in an instant. The bone spur lit up with an even thicker dark purple lightning energy, and with the terrifying power of one Yuan power and Yuan Qi manifestation, it continued to attack the enlarged ball of flesh. Inside the thick flesh and bone armor, Lu Kuan's body was still curled up, but the flesh and blood of his torso had clearly expanded. Below the ribs, there was the body of a little monkey. Its 2 little monkey palms were pressed against the right side of the ball of organs. A layer of dark yellow blood was rolling on the surface of its body, mixed with hatred and madness. It exuded a strange energy aura, and the surrounding silver blood seemed to be attracted and slowly gathered towards it. Besides the palms, the blood vessels and muscle fibers around the chest were glued together with the dark yellow blood on the surface of the little monkey's body. 6-eared macaque. Lu Kuan felt the situation inside his body, and his expression was ugly. A few breaths ago, when he took out the oath stone to absorb the berserk intent within, an incomparably dense aura of resentment suddenly rose from Xiao Jin's body. Under the influence of this thought, the little monkey directly rushed out of the soft rib space and squeezed into Lu Kuan's chest, a layer of special dark yellow blood gushing out of its body. This blood, supported by the hatred and madness, had a strange devouring power that seemed to want to devour his body and bloodline. Damn it, this is the backlash from the 6-eared macaque's bloodline. Didn't Xiao Jin say that this would only appear in the Demon King realm? Could it be because of the mirage lightning? When Xiao Jin crossed the bone transformation stage, Thunder Tribulation, this resentment appeared. The 6-eared macaque can copy the target's cultivation base and divine ability. But when it reaches the Demon King level, it must consume the divine ability copy. This devouring and assimilating power is a bloodline divine ability created by the combination of the resentment intent and the madness intent? These thoughts flashed through Lu Kuan's mind, and his expression became extremely serious. Under normal circumstances, this devouring power would not be able to do anything to his physical essence. But at this moment, his blood either gushed out of his body and solidified into the blood-bone armor, or converged into the inner ball and injected the madness intent into the snow soul spirit saber. More importantly, Lu Kuan's molecular consciousness was still controlling Hong Yuntian's flesh and blood nerves. Under multitasking, his control over his flesh and blood was greatly reduced, and he could not resist the devouring power of the strange layer of blood outside the little monkey's body. Outside, there were 3 strong enemies besieging him. Inside, there was the backlash from the 6-eared macaque's bloodline. Inside, his body was filled with the mirage lightning that targeted the soul. Lu Kuan could be said to be in a desperate situation. If he could not gather the madness intent, only death would await him. But until the last moment, he would not give up so easily. His brain kept analyzing the state of his physical body, trying to find a solution. If I retrieve the blood that forms the flesh-bone armor, I can use the thick blood essence to resist the 6-eared macaque's devouring power. But without the protection of this defensive divine ability, when the Devil Emperor's power enters my body, my organs will be in turmoil, and the madness intent will not be able to fuse. But if I let the 6-eared macaque's bloodline devour the blood of my body, the madness intent will still not be able to gather. Xiao Jin's actions are guided by the resentment intent, just like Brother Hong's bloodthirsty intent. If its soul is not in a deep slumber, that's right, its soul is in a deep slumber, and its nervous system is only controlled by instinct, then can I control its body through the flesh child's consciousness and stop it from devouring? Just as this thought flashed through Lu Kuan's mind, he quickly took action. A fingernail-sized mini vertebra formed at the edge of his neck. Under the devouring power of the little monkey's dark yellow blood, it surged into its slightly open mouth and stuck into the little monkey's neck. As if it had sensed something, the little monkey suddenly opened its eyes. Its scarlet pupils were filled with a strong sense of resentment. The dark yellow sticky blood on the surface of its body suddenly became thicker, and the blood vessels, flesh, and blood around it were even fusing with it at a faster speed. This, Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with disbelief. After he controlled Xiao Jin's physical body, the 6-eared macaque's bloodline's backlash became even more intense. The more he controlled his body to resist, the more resentment intent surged. The power of the devouring and assimilating power became even stronger. Furthermore, after his consciousness entered the little monkey's body, he could sense the fear and helplessness that pervaded Xiao Jin's soul. It was as if the assimilation and devouring at this moment was a scene from a dream. Then, Lu Kuan sensed that only half of the flesh and bone armor was left outside his body, and the blood and flesh that were merging into the little monkey's body. His eyes instantly turned red. Is there no other way? I can't accept this. The human race's path of body refinement has already opened up a golden path. The body refining pavilion has just begun to rise. Every body refiner disciple is also embarking on their own path of body refinement. How can I, Lu Kuan, die at this juncture? Wait, the path of the other disciples. At this moment, a thought flashed through Lu Kuan's mind. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Devouring, assimilating, bloodline spirit beasts. As if thinking of something, Lu Kuan's bone treasures all lit up. The demon energy and blood in his body surged at the same time, emanating the evil aura of blood, qi, and demon energy. If I can't stop it, then I'll take the initiative to merge, attach, spirit, art. As the various auras in his body surged, the flesh and blood in the little monkey's body no longer resisted the 6-eared macaque's bloodline power. Instead, it used the flesh and blood condensation technique. The little monkey's flesh and blood, wrapped in dark yellow blood, separated from the monkey's body. They could not wait to merge into Lu Kuan's flesh and blood, wanting to devour it quickly. The organs inside turn into a ball of flesh and blood, rushing to the right side of the ball of organs. The monkey's bones, emitting thick demon chi, stuck to the silver bones inside Lu Kuan's body. Although the body had been disintegrated, the six-eared macaque's devouring aura was even more joyful. The flesh, blood, organs, and bones of both sides fused together, enveloping them in a layer of dark yellow and silver blood. Boom, boom, boom. Horrifying airwaves and pressure rolled in the demonic fog. The three demon emperors only spent about 20 breaths of time to shatter more than half of Lu Kuan's ball of flesh and bones. They could even see Lu Kuan's fleshly body through the gaps of the armor. The mirage thunderlight caused the divine soul in his body to devour him. This monster can no longer maintain the body's power. Without the divine soul, no matter how strong the body's defense is, it's just a shell. However, just as the three demon emperors were excited and their attacks became more aggressive, the ball of flesh and bones suddenly trembled violently. Countless dark purple lightning bolts, like tiny lightning bolts, seemed to have encountered some kind of powerful force and were forcibly squeezed out. Mirage, Thunderlight, why are they all out? Just as the three demon emperors were stunned, a dazzling golden halo radiated from the ball of flesh and bone with a will that was filled with a violent aura. This aura was not affected by the force field at all and hit the three demon emperors. The totem patterns on their heads seemed to sense something and shone with purple spirit light, blocking this layer of golden light. What kind of aura is this? The Mirage Thunderlight was actually forced out. It even triggered the blood pattern that Lord Demon Venerable added. That ball of flesh and bone seems to have changed. No, this guy's force field is still there. The flesh and bone armor that was mixed with flesh and blood seemed to be unable to withstand some kind of terrifying power and suddenly exploded. Invisible forces that were distorted endlessly rushed out in all directions. The three demon emperors' pupils shrank suddenly. They felt as if their force fields had hit a huge rock falling at high speed. Their bodies, which were more than 10 feet long, were sent flying out uncontrollably. Roar, 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 accompanied by the three roars. That terrifying and violent aura soared into the sky, accompanied by a strong and unyielding aura and an extremely resentful aura. These three auras intertwined with each other. The powerful divine soul energy emitted even forced the surrounding mirage thunderlight dozens of feet away. Below the three auras, a ferocious and terrifying creature had appeared out of nowhere. It had the torso and lower limbs of the human clan and was full of strong muscles. However, there were two other thick shoulders above the thoracic vertebrae on its back. On the left shoulder, there was a horse-faced head with a layer of dark totem patterns on its bald head. The expression on its face was extremely strange. Its eyebrows were furrowed, and there was a hint of stubbornness in its eyes. The entire head was filled with a strong and unyielding aura. On both sides of the bald head shoulders, there was a pair of thick arms densely covered with purple and black scales. There were also bone spurs on the fingers and elbow joints, which looked like the arms of the demon clan. On the shoulder of the main body, in the middle, there was a human head with a square face and short hair. Its eyes were filled with madness and brutality. Its face was ferocious and abominable, as if it wanted to tear everything in its sight to shreds. A violent intent rose from it. Below the human head, there was a pair of strong arms. The thick muscles were like crisscrossing steel bars. Below the skin, there were layers of dense capillaries that exuded an astonishing power of chi and blood. As for the head on the rightmost shoulder, it looked like an ape. There were 2 ears on each side of the head. This 4-eared ape head stared straight ahead. Its eyes were extremely red and filled with endless resentment, as if the whole world owed it. Below the ape head, there was a pair of huge arms with golden hair. The ape's arms were extremely thick, even larger than the other 4 arms. It had a power that could shake the heavens and the earth. The bald, horse-faced, indomitable head, the square-faced, short-haired berserk head, and the golden-haired, ape-faced, resentful head opened their mouths and let out a soundless roar towards the sky. Below, the three pairs of different arms were waving wildly. The twisting force field around their bodies sometimes rolled and sometimes disappeared. The nearby air seemed to be unable to withstand this terrifying power, and there were bursts of explosions and countless terrifying airflows. Chapter 1347. The three demon emperors hovered in mid-air a few feet away. The invisible force field around their bodies fluctuated incessantly, and they were all dumbfounded. 3 heads and 6 arms. What kind of race is this monster? Blood patterns of the sacred race, heads of the human race, and a strange demon monkey. This body seems to be a combination of the flesh and blood of the human race, and demon race. Each head has a kind of willpower, and the violent will in the middle is the most terrifying. It even suppressed the mirage lightning light. The force field that repelled us is very strong. It seems to have recovered its strength. No, there is something wrong with this guy's force field. The 3 demon emperors soon discovered that the force field around this 3-headed and 6-armed monster was sometimes distorted and sometimes disappeared. There seemed to be 3 different kinds of power conflicting with each other, and they could not fuse together. The bald demon emperor's eyes darkened as he said, "It seems to be unable to control the power in its body. It is like a newborn. Use the demonic artifacts." Okay. The other demon emperors looked at this monster floating in midair with its force field tumbling. They immediately understood that this monster seemed to be in some kind of newborn state, and this was the best opportunity to use the demonic artifacts. As they communicated with their divine senses, black light flashed in their hands. A double-sided axe, a black saber, and a round-headed hammer appeared. Dense, dark, purple lightning surged in the bodies of the 3 demon emperors, and the force field around them was distorted. The majestic power attracted the thick demon essence chi nearby, and a large amount of black halos gathered. They retreated 30 meters and formed a triangle, surrounding the monster that had 3 heads roaring silently and 6 arms flailing wildly. A large amount of demon essence chi gathered in front of the 3 demonic artifacts, forming a black demon essence chi axe, a demon essence chi saber, and a demon essence chi hammer. Then they all grew to 200 feet long. The demon essence chi light flashed with dense totem patterns, and thick dark purple lightning curled around them. The incomparably dense demon essence chi formed pressure soared into the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. The 3 demon emperors raised the weapons in their hands high, and the muscles on their arms contracted continuously. The force field around them was also distorted, as if it was bearing a great reaction force. They swung their arms down fiercely. The light from the 3 huge weapons, each of which was 200 feet long, was mixed with a terrifying brute force of 2 million gene, as they fiercely blasted towards the monster in the middle. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the 3-headed, 6-armed monster's head still opened its mouth and let out a soundless roar, venting the willpower in its head. Its expression did not change at all. However, its 3 pairs of arms that were randomly waving about were raised to the sky at the same time. Following this action, the distorted force field ripples radiated out from its palms. The air 5 feet above him began to twist and distort, turning into 6 blurry illusions of palms made of air. They seemed to be made of pure, invisible energy, forming groups of 2 as they went up to meet the attack. The halos of the 3 weapons collided with the 3 pairs of palms. At this moment, it was as if the surrounding air had solidified, but immediately after, shock waves rippled out from between the 3 Yuan Chi weapons and the blurry palm. Boom! The violent shock waves surged in all directions amidst the roars, and the nearby demonic fog was directly squeezed out by more than 1,000 feet. More than half of the distorted air in the 6 blurry palms collapsed, although there were twice as many of them. In the face of the 3 terrifying demonic weapon halos, they seemed to be lacking in power. They kept collapsing and looked like they would be smashed into pieces at any time. But at this moment, a pool of blood suddenly emerged from behind the necks of the three heads of the monster. It was intertwined with black, silver, and dark yellow blood, and seemed to be wrapped around a strange crystal. The blood kept squirming, and soon turned into a trembling, deformed sarcoma filled with capillaries. It was like a heart beating rapidly, and every time it beat, a layer of pale, golden flowing light would gush out and radiate throughout the monster's body. On the top of the three-headed, six-armed monster's six blurry palms that were being suppressed by the demonic weapon halos seemed to have received some kind of support after this layer of golden flowing light appeared and quickly solidified. At the same time, the nearby demonic yuan qi that was converging towards the demonic weapons seemed to be affected by an even more powerful force. It shifted its direction and condensed towards the phantoms of the six palms. Seeing this, the three demon emperors could not help but change their expressions. They felt that their weapons were being obstructed by some kind of powerful force, and even felt like they were sinking into a quagmire. The power of this monster. Not good. Its force field has stabilized. After the body of the three-headed, six-armed monster was baptized by the golden flowing light, the distorted force field no longer became chaotic, and the intertwining forces actually blended with each other. Above the monster's head, the six palms that had turned into a black halo not only held the three demonic weapons, but also slowly raised them. From the initial 2 feet, it kept rising 6 feet, 7 feet, 10 feet. When it extended to 13 feet, the palm-like muscles on the three pairs of palms that seemed to be solid twisted and squeezed inwards. Buzz. The thick halos of the three demonic chi weapons trembled as if they had suffered a heavy blow. Cracks appeared on the solid black demonic yuan chi halos, and they quickly spread backward. Boom! In 1 or 2 breaths, the 200-foot weapon halos were forcibly shattered under the power of the three pairs of palms and turned into primeval demonic yuan qi. Roar! An excited roar came from the chest of the three-headed, six-armed monster. In addition to the distorted force field around its palms, the force field around its body also began to spread outward, radiating to an area of 13 feet. After colliding with this terrifying force field, a spatial rift not far away even could not bear the burden and began to distort. It burst apart like a bubble and turned into nothingness. Even the spatial rift could not bear this terrifying force field. The three demon emperors were still preparing to continue activating their demonic weapons, but when they saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. Shattering space, realm limit. This guy's power has reached the middle stage demon emperor. Quick, fusion force field. They looked a little panicked, and their figures flashed and gathered together. But just as the three demon emperors were about to get close to each other, the three-headed, six-armed monster had already arrived in the middle. Its speed was so fast that even the sound of air exploding could not be heard. Be careful. Quick. Demonic vitality. At the edge of the 6-foot force field of the three demon emperors, a large amount of dark purple lightning surged out. It was like a twisted rope that wanted to connect. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a majestic, invisible force extended from the surface of the three-headed, six-armed monster's body and squeezed the lightning energy back. Oh no! The three demon emperors panicked. Before they could react, they saw that the distorted force field continued to spread. It covered an area of 13 feet and wrapped the three demon emperors' bodies in the opposite direction. The monster's power was obviously much stronger, and the force field kept shrinking and collapsing inwards. The three demon emperors could only watch helplessly as their force fields shattered inch by inch. Their bodies were also pulled close to the monster by this force. In the three heads, the eyes that contained different wills stared at them like dead fish. Roar! The three-headed, six-armed monster's chest roared excitedly. Its three pairs of arms raised their fists high, and with terrifying brute force, hammered the demon emperors in front of it fiercely. The three demon emperors were horrified. thick dark purple lightning surged out of their bodies, and the force field outside their body was maintained at 1 foot on the surface of their bodies. They struggled to wave their arms to resist. Boom, boom, boom. The first round of bombardment had already caused them to feel a powerful impact. The muscles on their forearms felt waves of pain, and the scales on their forearms even let out creaking sounds, unable to bear the heavy burden. Then, the monster's hands grabbed the weapons in their hands. Oh no! Withdraw quickly. The 3 magic tools disappeared amidst the 3 deep purple rays of light, leaving the 6 palms empty. Damn it! Its power is really at the mid-stage Demon Emperor level. Although our force fields are suppressed, now that we're close, we can merge a little. Although it has many arms, it only has 2 legs. Use the demonic vitality to attack with its legs. The sarcoma behind this guy's neck is strange. Let's take the initiative to attack. The 3 Demon Emperors had rich combat experience, and they quickly calmed down. Their force fields that were on the verge of breaking, under the intertwining of the dark purple lightning, barely merged and resisted the monster's force field. Then, they used offense as defense. The bone spurs on their fists were aimed at the back of the monster's neck, and the bone spurs on their knees were aimed at its waist at the same time. The 3-headed, 6-armed monster did not seem to want the bone spurs to touch its body. Its 6 fists were waving rapidly, blocking the bone spurs at an unparalleled speed. This action greatly reduced the pressure on the 3 Demon Emperors. Their strength and speed were not as good as the monsters, but with their hands and feet, and with the help of the demonic vitality, they could barely resist the monster's 3 pairs of arms. However, their bodies were shrouded by the monster's vast force field, and there was no way to escape. Previously, they were attacking the monster from all sides, but now it seemed to be the other way around. This monster was using its 3 pairs of arms to attack them. Boom, boom, boom. The 3-headed, 6-armed monster and the 3 Demon Emperors' huge bodies were entangled. Both sides bombarded each other in the distorted force field. Countless phantom arms and legs crisscrossed, and there were bursts of metal clashing sounds. Countless air waves more terrifying than the high-level wind blade technique surged out from the collision of these sturdy muscles, forming circles of twisting storm vortexes. It was unknown whether it was the force of these air waves or some other reason, but the 4 bodies that were constantly bombarding each other were unknowingly crashing into the periphery of the demonic fog. The spatial rifts that were hit by them, regardless of whether they were as short as an arm or as long as 1 or 2 feet, were all shattered. The demonic fog and lightning mirage within the rifts also disappeared. These 4 brawling, muscular creatures were like a mass of flesh and blood meteors. They dragged a trail of white flames in the pitch-black demonic fog and rolled in the direction of the periphery. Chapter 1348. In the Shattered Country, at the outermost node of the Minor Dipper 36 formation, several cultivators stood at the peak of a mountain, looking at the demonic fog in the distance. The 2 in the lead were the Great Zhou Dynasty's pseudo-soul formation cultivator Gu Deming and Huatian Temple's Abbot Ji Yuan. Behind them stood Lu Jinyuan and Huang Xiaoyan. Abbot Ji Yuan said with a worried expression, "There are still such turbulent waves thousands of miles away. There must be an intense battle in the demonic fog." Gu Deming said with a serious expression, "Back then, when Master Lu fought with the 2 demon kings, the demonic fog didn't fluctuate so violently. Looking at the current situation, he most likely encountered a strong enemy." Abbot Ji Yuan muttered. Before Master Lu entered the demonic fog, he used a voice transmission talisman to instruct us to activate the formation immediately if there are any abnormalities. At this moment, Gu Deming suddenly said with a shocked expression, "There's a situation. Look at the demonic fog." Hearing this, the others turned their heads. They saw that in the depths of the demonic fog, a ball of distorted demonic fog had appeared out of nowhere. This black ball shot towards their formation at an astonishing speed, bringing with it a powerful shockwave. Wherever it passed, The demonic fog seemed to be swept away by some kind of unstoppable force. Moreover, as the black ball continued to attack, the shockwave became more and more terrifying, causing the demonic fog on both sides to become larger and larger. This boundless demonic fog seemed to have been forcefully created by this distorted black ball, creating a fan-shaped passage that became wider and wider. Not long after, this black ball of fog rushed out of the demonic fog. At this moment, it seemed to have lost some kind of balance, bringing with it an unparalleled force as it fell to the ground at the edge of the demonic fog. Rumble. Following the earth-shattering rumble, the earth shook violently. Even a mountain where Gu Deming and the others were standing on began to shake slightly. What a terrifying force! Only Pavilion Master Lu is capable of producing such a powerful impact. That black ball of fog was too fast. I couldn't see clearly what was inside. Check carefully. Gu Deming and Abba Jiyuan could not help but send their divine senses out of their bodies, probing about 10 miles away. The ground there was like a piece of tofu, and a huge ravine that was 100 feet wide was created by the impact. A large amount of dust, mixed with the black and white waves of spirit energy, rolled in all directions. Furthermore, the huge ravine continued to extend forward under the terrifying impact. It continued for 500 to 600 meters before it slowly stopped. Bang, bang, bang. The rumbling on the ground gradually disappeared, but the sounds of collisions rose and fell again in these ravines. It sounded like the sound of metal and flesh violently clashing. Gu Deming and Ji Yuan's consciousness, which contained their willpower, swept across the terrifying ravine. Just as they were about to explore it, they felt 3 terrifying willpower rushing towards them. The 2 soul formation stage cultivators couldn't help but let out a muffled groan. Their faces were pale, and their eyes were filled with fear. There are actually 3 types of wills. That violent will seems to be the terrifying will that appeared when Master Lu activated the Golden Saber Light. The unyielding will belongs to fellow Daoist Hong of the body, refining pavilion. Where did the last malicious will come from? We can be sure that it's Master Lu who is fighting. We can't detect it with our divine senses. We'll borrow the power of the Big Dipper formation. Fellow Taoists who are guarding the nodes, cast the spell together. As Gu Deming and Abba Ji Yuan spoke, the jade pendants on their waists lit up with white light. Under the effect of the array formation jade talisman, the cultivators at the other nodes heard their instructions. Lu Jinyuan, who was behind the 2, and the other great cultivators guarding the other 35 nodes of the Big Dipper formation all made the same hand seals and struck the array formation jade pillars beside them. In a few breaths of time, the vast array formation gushed out a circle of special fluctuations toward the gully. Then, a clear image gradually appeared above each array formation node and array formation pillar. In the deepest part of the gully, several figures were wrestling together. However, the air outside their bodies was constantly distorted. The cultivators could barely see 4 figures. These figures were entangled together. In the blurred air, countless arms could be vaguely seen waving, like afterimages produced by too fast a speed. Accompanied by the dense sound of flesh and blood colliding, the 4 figures wrestling together rolled around at the bottom of the gully, stirring up a whirlpool of chi. The body outside is 10 feet tall. Is it a 3-headed demon king? Is the one being besieged in the middle Master Lu? Master Lu seems to be at a disadvantage. Huang Xiaoyun stared intently at the scene of the Big Dipper formation manifesting, especially at the distorted force field of the 3 demons surrounded by dark purple lightning. He found that the force field of these demons seemed to be suppressed by an even wider distorted air, unable to go too far from the surface of their bodies. He couldn't help but look excited and said, "Master has the upper hand. His source force field has bound the demon kings. These demons can't escape. Master deliberately brought these demon kings out." Under the effect of the array, all the cultivators heard Huang Xiaoyun's words. They carefully looked at the distorted force field and found that it was indeed as he said. The three demons were tightly bound and couldn't escape the battle group. Yes, Master Lu was able to crush 2 demon kings in the demonic fog. Even if there is one more, they may not be able to defeat Master Lu. The demonic fog is the home field of the demons, but outside is the area where we cultivators have the advantage. Master Lu brought the 3 demon kings out to borrow our strength. Yes, it must be so. All fellow cultivators, pay attention. Activate the greatest magical power of the Big Dipper Formation. At this time, the cultivators in the Big Dipper Formation were at least in the late stage of the nascent soul stage. When they heard Huang Xiaoyan's words, they quickly understood the situation of the battle. Under the orders of several demigod realm seniors, these people began to energize the formation in high spirits. If they could cooperate with Master Lu and kill the 3 demon kings in one go, it meant that the human race had won the initiative in this war against the demons. With the 36 great cultivators and the pseudo-dipper demigod realm at the core of the formation casting the spell, the huge formation covering hundreds of miles quickly operated. In the rich spiritual energy within hundreds of miles, circles of dazzling white halos gushed out, and the terrifying chi of heaven and earth filled the vast world. This powerful formation from ancient times, under the activation of many cultivators, revealed its terrifying power. Just this powerful absorption ability alone was far beyond that of an ordinary cultivator in the early stage of the demigod realm. Looking down from the vast sky, the 36 nodes of the formation were evenly distributed, and every 6 nodes formed a group. 6 different kinds of chi of heaven and earth appeared as if they were nurturing an extremely terrifying spell. And the chi of heaven and earth within hundreds of miles was affected by these fluctuations, divided into colorful halos, and seemed to want to pour into the 6 groups of formations. But at this time, a strange aura came from the huge gully on the ground. The divided chi of heaven and earth suddenly trembled violently, as if it was forcibly scattered into white halos by some kind of irresistible force. At the same time, in the demonic fog that was full of demonic chi of heaven and earth, a similar number of majestic chi of heaven and earth halos rose. They and the surrounding chi of heaven and earth all rushed madly into the gully on the ground not far away. What's going on? What a terrifying power of the primordial spirit. It intercepted the chi of heaven and earth that was activated by the Big Dipper Formation. Could it be that Master Lu is casting a spell? All the cultivators in the formation looked up at the sky and looked at the chi of heaven and earth that filled the sky in horror. The few pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators outside the formation felt their hearts tremble when they felt this strange phenomenon. This feeling, it's like Master Lu is using the golden saber light from back then. Not only that, his ability to absorb chi of heaven and earth has become even more terrifying. It's here, the golden halo, it's Master Lu's magical power. With the influx of the 2 kinds of chi of heaven and earth, a layer of dazzling golden halo appeared in the gully, and a terrifying chi of heaven and earth spread in all directions. The tangled figure became clearer with the injection of the golden chi of heaven and earth. But when everyone saw the scene inside, they were all dumbfounded, and even Huang Xiaoyan was the same. What kind of monster is that? 3 heads, 6 arms. The head in the middle, that's Master Lu's face. That's fellow Taoist Hong for the body refining pavilion next to it. What's with that ape head? Giant golden arms. Could it be the long-armed giant ape? In the depths of the gully, 4 figures landed on the ground. The most eye-catching one was a monster with 3 heads and 6 arms in the middle. A layer of golden light film surged on the surface of its body, and a twisting force field of more than 10 feet spread around its body, enveloping the 3 demons. Although these demons were tall and big, they looked like weak girls who had encountered a strong man, and their faces were full of horror. Their wrists were all tightly grasped by the monster's 6 small hands. Outside the purple-black scales, the force field that was constantly rolling with dark purple lightning was also trembling violently, as if it was under terrible pressure. Boom! Accompanied by a dazzling golden light, the twisting force field around the three-headed and six-armed monster suddenly emitted a faint golden light. The dark purple force field of the three demons could no longer bear it and shattered with a loud bang. The three big bodies were completely enveloped by the faint golden force field. Their expressions were frozen, and their bodies seemed to have been immobilized. They couldn't even make a simple move. As the chi of heaven and earth continued to converge, the golden force field with the three-headed and six-armed monster as the center began to rotate, and the golden light became more and more dazzling. But at this moment, the totems on the faces of the three demons suddenly surged with incomparably dark spiritual light and a dense ball of dark purple lightning. They seemed to be unaffected by the golden force field and suddenly spread all over the demons' bodies. Boom! 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 Then, several terrifying explosions were heard, and a strange aura of destruction soared into the sky. It seemed to contain an incomparably majestic bloodline power. With the help of this power, the huge bodies of the three demons broke free from the monster's control. Two of the bodies in the dazzling purple-black light seemed to have directly crossed space and appeared hundreds of meters away. But after the light flashed, the third male demon's body was only a little more than 3 meters away and just barely escaped the golden force field's range. He looked at his companion in the distance, and his head looked down with some fear. He saw 2 thick black tentacles wrapped around his wrist, and the flesh inside intertwined like ropes made of countless muscle fibers. And behind the tentacles were 2 arms with the blood patterns of the demon race carved on them. What kind of flesh is this? Why isn't it affected? The male demon didn't have time to react before he felt an unparalleled power coming from the tentacles. No, he let out a shrill scream, and then was forcibly pulled back into the golden force field. When the 2 demons in the distance heard this scream, the deep purple lightning on the surface of their bodies quickly fused together, and they fled toward the demonic mist at an astonishing speed, showing no signs of turning back. After the tentacle arm of the 3-headed and 6-armed monster dragged the male demon back, it turned into a blood-striped arm and slapped the male demon to the ground. Then it raised its 6 fists shining with golden light and smashed them down fiercely. Boom! 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 Countless afterimages of golden fists bombarded the male demon's chest. Almost in the blink of an eye, the scales on his chest were smashed into smithereens. Pieces of flesh and blood mixed with the turbulent air waves flew in all directions, revealing his chest that was emitting a deep purple light. Seeing this, the monster seemed to be even more excited, and the golden force field around it began to revolve again. The 6 eyes of the 3 heads were staring straight at the chest of the demon. The bald, horse-faced man's eyes were stubborn and unyielding, as if he was determined to break the deep purple chest. The eyes of the human head in the middle were full of madness, as if he wanted to destroy everything in front of him. The third ape head looked extremely resentful, as if the demon in front of it was an unforgettable enemy. The 3-headed and 6-armed monster pressed the male demon under its body, waving its 6 arms, and countless golden fists flashed. The terrifying power even caused the surrounding space to be slightly torn, but then it was crushed under the pressure of the twisting force field. The surrounding ground flickered with space cracks, and a pit was formed in the ground. The deep purple light on the male demon's chest was also fading at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a while, the golden force field gradually formed a golden funnel, and the twisting force field around it collapsed into the funnel, and a strange suction force emerged. At the center of the funnel, the chest of the demon manifested a black demon's soul phantom. It looked frightened and struggled with all its might, but it was still slowly pulled out by the special suction force of the golden funnel. After a few breaths, as the last trace of lightning energy disappeared from the male demon's chest, the demon's soul phantom could no longer resist and was forcibly sucked into the golden vortex and twisted into nothingness. Roar! An excited roar came from the monster's chest. It stepped on the broken chest of the Demon King, and its 3 heads let out a soundless roar to the sky. Its 6 arms waved excitedly in the air with a twisting force field. The golden funnel around its body collapsed inwards, turning into circles of golden waves of yuan qi, and with a terrifying force, madly surged in all directions. Rumble, the hundreds of feet-long gully, trembled even more violently. The nearby ground could not withstand such a terrifying force, and a large area of cracks appeared. These crisscrossing cracks continued to extend into the distance. Chapter 1349. Master Lu won, fighting 1 against 3, defeating 2 Demon Kings and killing 1. Pavilion Master Lu's strength is simply too terrifying. The nascent soul stage cultivators who were observing the battle through the formation were all excited. Although they couldn't understand Master Lu's strange divine powers, they could still tell who won and who lost. In the knowledge of these great cultivators, each Demon King was more powerful than an early divine transformation stage cultivator. When the 3 Demon Kings worked together, they were almost invincible existences. Who would have thought that Pavilion Master Lu would be able to defeat them all by himself? It was truly unbelievable. However, the pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators who saw the battle became serious. Apart from the 2 from the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud, the rest of them had seen Lu Kuan fight 80 years ago. The incomparably powerful 2-headed 4-armed ability could easily crush a Devil King and a fake Devil Emperor in an environment like the demonic mist. Moreover, when he killed the Devil King, he killed it with a single slash without the slightest hesitation. However, in the battle just now, Lu Kuan's physical body had an extra pair of arms and a head on top of the 2-headed and 4-armed divine powers. Whether it was in terms of momentum or destructive power, he was much more powerful than he was in the past. Even so, he was still entangled with the 3 Demon Kings for a long time. He even pulled the battle out of the demonic fog. With the help of the Heavenly Dipper formation, he was able to completely suppress the enemy. More importantly, the male demon, who had no resistance at all, managed to hold on for about 10 breaths under the ferocious might of Pavilion Master Lu's 3 heads and 6 arms. Whether it was in terms of combat power or defense, these 3 Demon Kings were definitely not ordinary Demon Kings. Boom, boom, boom. While the pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators were thinking, the pale golden waves of divine powers in the distance became more turbulent. They couldn't help but change their expressions. Something is wrong. Why is Master Lu still using his divine powers? Did you notice that the expressions of the 3 heads haven't changed since the beginning? Violent will, unyielding will, and that will of resentment. Even a soul formation intermediate stage cultivator would find it difficult to control such an astonishing power of will. Could it be that Master Lu's soul has lost control and his body has been taken over by these wills? Everyone was shocked when they heard the words of these soul formation seniors. They looked over and found that Master Lu's 3-headed, 6-armed body was still waving its arms wildly. A faint golden halo of yuan qi mixed with a force that distorted the air and collided in all directions. Not only did the fissure in the ground not lessen, it was even expanding. In this short period of time, those light golden waves of origin qi had already crossed a distance of more than 10 miles, colliding with the restrictions at the edge of the Heavenly Dipper 36 formation, emitting rumbling noises. The images that appeared on every node of the formation seemed to be affected and shattered, turning into specks of spiritual light. But just as these cultivators were about to preside over the defense of the Heavenly Dipper formation, the trembling golden yuan qi in the distance suddenly stopped. Then it seemed to be pulled back by some kind of powerful force. Moreover, when the golden yuan qi rolled back, it directly collapsed into black and white. It divided into demonic spiritual yuan qi and gathered in the air above the fissure. In a short while, it condensed into 2 huge yuan qi blades, one black and one white. One was exuding a strong, demonic spiritual yuan qi pressure, and the other was full of rich spiritual yuan qi. But strangely, these two blades were not solid and looked a little scattered. Then, these two blades seemed to be controlled by some kind of force and slashed into the fissure on the ground. Boom! Accompanied by a loud roar. A large number of airwaves rose, but the surrounding heaven and earth yuan qi and demonic spiritual yuan qi halo gradually dissipated and returned to the depths of heaven and earth spiritual qi. Gu Deming and the others, who were at the outermost periphery of the heavenly dipper formation, saw such a strange scene and couldn't help but be stunned. They didn't dare to release their divine sense to explore. I'll go check on Master's condition. At this time, a sharp sword intent lit up on Huang Xiaoyan's body. With a worried look on his face, he turned into a dark golden sword light and shot out. Great spiritual monarch Buddha, fellow Taoist Huang, please wait for this old monk. Seeing this, Monk Ji Yuan chanted the name of Buddha and also flew up. Gu Deming hesitated for a moment and followed closely behind. As for Lu Jinyuan of the Northern Yuan sect, he was a great cultivator who was guarding the node of the formation and couldn't leave easily. In addition, several escape lights also flew out from another node. In the depths of the fissure on the ground, more than 10 miles away, this place had become a mess. On the bumpy ground, there were two unfathomable saber marks that were only a few feet apart. These two saber marks divided the ground into 3 areas with a figure lying in each of them. The bald horse-faced man on the far left was Hong Yuntian. At this time, his eyes were closed, and he was lying on the ground like a puddle of mud. His originally strong body had lost half of its weight, and he looked like a bag of bones. The short-haired man in the middle was Lu Kuan. He was half kneeling on the ground, and the muscles on his arms were trembling. He was supporting his body and was trying to stand up. On the far right was a 2 to 3 feet tall golden ape. The little monkey was lying on his back with his big eyes looking around. When he saw Lu Kuan not far away, he heaved a sigh of relief. He looked as if he had put down a heavy burden. The little monkey grinned and said with a relieved tone, "Lu Kuan, when we go back, we have to thank Xiangshan. It's all thanks to his creation of the Beast King transformation. Otherwise, the backlash of the 6-eared macaque's bloodline wouldn't have been resolved so easily." Lu Kuan gradually regained control of his body and stood up. He looked as if he had just survived a disaster. I didn't expect the backlash of the 6-eared macaque to be so terrifying. If not for the Beast King transformation, my bloodline would have been completely devoured by you. As he spoke, he sighed. When he was attacked by 3 demon emperors, his blood either turned into bloodbone armor or entered his organs with frenzy will. He couldn't resist the 6-eared macaque's bloodline devouring ability. But in a moment of desperation, Lu Kuan activated the spirit adhesion that Xiangshan had modified. The situation in his body suddenly changed. When Xiao Jin was still a low-ranked demonic beast, he had formed a bloodline contract with Lu Kuan by chance. With the help of the 6-eared macaque's strange abilities, the human and the demonic beast were not only connected by blood, but also by their minds. Even their demonic energies and physical attributes were very similar. When the 6-eared macaque's bloodline devouring ability was used in Lu Kuan's body, the state of their bodies was very similar to Xiangshan's tribulation. The only difference was that the latter's blood and demon energies were fused together, while the former's blood and demon energies were connected by the 6-eared macaque's ability. Under the effect of the Beast King transformation, Lu Kuan and Xiao Jin's bodies were strangely stuck in a special half-fused state. Their bones were half-fused, and their flesh was half-fused. But because Lu Kuan's internal organs were wrapped by the snow-souled dual sabers, the little monkey's internal organs only covered the surface of the spirit blades. In this state, the 6-eared macaque's bloodline devouring ability was complete. After all, the two's bodies had already fused. Without this obstacle, Lu Kuan's son of flesh and divine will completely controlled the little monkey's body, just like how it controlled Hong Yuntian. He was multitasking. Hong Yuntian's flesh and blood on the left side of the internal organs injected the brutal will into the snow-souled dual sabers, while Xiao Jin's body on the right side separated the frenzy will from the bloodline. Lu Kuan's own bloodline and the Snow Soul dual sabers mediated in the middle. In a spurt of energy, he fused the demon races and demon races' wills into the frenzy will. Just as Lu Kuan had guessed, the frenzy will was extremely terrifying. As soon as it fused, its power reached the mid-divine transformation stage. In addition to the unyielding will and the venomous will in its body, it pushed the mirage thunder light out of its body. This caused Hong Yuntian's and Xiao Jin's souls to awaken. Thanks to the six-eared macaque's abijna, we were able to fuse the three of our bodies together. Otherwise, we would not have been able to defeat the three demon emperors. Hong Yuntian had also recovered. Although his body was still thin, he managed to stand up. His voice was a little hoarse. Lu Kuan nodded and said, "That's right. At that time, Brother Hong's flesh and blood essence was also in my body. Xiao Jin and I were in a different state from Xiong Shan. If we wanted to fuse Xiao Jin's power, we could only activate it with 2 heads and 4 arms. Xiao Jin's bones and my bone treasure are in a half-fused state. There is no need for blood to condense the bones. His arm bones can directly carry the original power of the body." Hong Yuntian thought of their lightning-fast transformation and said excitedly, "Thanks to you, Lu Kuan, for being able to react in such a short time and condensing Xiao Jin's head to vent your resentment. Otherwise, with the interference of this uncontrollable will, we would not have been able to use the dark spirit crystal to fuse our bodies and consciousness into one." Lu Kuan sighed and said, "The will of brutality and the will of frenzy are the bloodline wills of Brother Hong and Xiao Jin. They fuse with the Snow Soul twin blades to produce the will of frenzy. Together with the unyielding will and the will of hatred, there are a total of 3 powerful wills. If we directly activate the dark spirit crystal, the pure mind power inside will probably go berserk. The mental shockwaves from their mutual destruction will probably destroy all of your internal organs. Only by condensing all 3 wills into the head and using a powerful blood essence to block them can we use the pure mind power of the dark spirit crystal to fuse our bodies and consciousness. From there, we can control the 2 million kilograms of dual elemental power in the body of the 3 heads, 6 arms." Lu Kuan looked at the lifeless corpse of the demon emperor on the ground in front of him. His eyes flashed with excitement. "My pseudo-viscera body can fuse with the will of frenzy and the Snow Soul twin blades, Brother Hong's true demon bloodline, Xiao Jin's frenzy bloodline, six-eared macaque's bloodline, devouring ability, beast king transformation, fusion ability, flesh child's consciousness, and the dark spear crystal. These powerful treasures and divine abilities coincidentally fuse together to form the strange 3 heads, 6 arms divine ability. The terrifying dual elemental power has expanded to 13 feet in size. The strong control of the demon spirit Yuan Qi has almost reached the limit of the realm." Lu Kuan's expression was a little fanatical. If we can freely control this 3 heads, 6 arms divine ability, even if there are 4 demon emperors and 4 demon kings left, there is nothing to be afraid of. Chapter 1350. Hearing Lu Kuan's words, Hong Yuntian pondered and said, "This 3 heads, 6 arms form is equivalent to the advanced 2 heads for arms. In addition to you and me, we also need Xiao Jin to fuse with the bodies of us 3 physique cultivators." At this time, Xiao Jin's body had recovered a lot. He stood up shakily and said, "I heard from the demon emperors that the power of this divine ability has reached the level of a middle-stage demon emperor. It seems that a middle-stage demon emperor can control the power of 2 elements." Then he said with joy, "By the way, Lu Kuan, if more bone transformation stage physique cultivators fuse with their bodies, do you think the power will be stronger and reach the power of 3 elements, or even 4 elements?" Lu Kuan shook his head and said, "The 3 of us use so many abijnas to combine our physical strength. If we lacked any of the conditions, it would be difficult to achieve it. It is almost impossible to merge it with another body, Cultivator's body. The foundation of the two heads, 4 arms divine ability is Brother Hong's unique flesh doppelganger divine ability. This can only be done by devil zombie body refining technique cultivators. And our 3 heads, 6 arms divine ability is based on the foundation of the 2 heads for arms, and with the help of the 6-eared macaque's bloodline, devouring divine ability, and devil ape transformation, we barely succeeded. The 2 of you fused with my body in 2 completely different ways. Let's not talk about whether there are other ways to fuse with the body. My body's nerves can only graft 2 different kinds of flesh and blood at most. At this point, Lu Kuan seemed to recall something. He opened his mouth and spat out a crystal with 8 sides. He narrowed his eyes and said, "And we have to carefully study this divine ability. In the end, if we didn't use the snow-souled double blades divine ability to cut off the neurosarcoma by force, I'm afraid we wouldn't be separated so easily. The longer the body and consciousness are fused through the dark spirit crystal, the harder it seems to be to separate. This situation didn't happen when I was 2 heads for arms. It is very likely related to the characteristics of the body and consciousness. If I can enter the Zhongyuan stage, my body and consciousness will increase greatly, and I will be able to control more powerful physical strength. I shouldn't need the dark spirit crystal. So, I can't use 3 heads, 6 arms for too long, at least not longer than the battle just now." Hearing this, Hong Yuntian and Xiao Jin showed a look of fear. After killing the Demon Emperor, they found that they couldn't separate their bodies and consciousness. Their bodies and consciousnesses, they seemed to be forcibly fused by the dark spirit crystal. And tried several methods were used, but they couldn't separate them. In the end, if it weren't for the snow-souled dual sabers and the berserk intent to cut off the tumor that was wrapped in the dark spirit crystal, they would probably be stuck in that state forever. That would be too terrifying. After a moment of silence, Lu Kuan suddenly asked, "By the way, Xiao Jin, after we forcefully withdrew from the 3 heads and 6-arm state, was your physical body affected? You were 5 feet tall before. Why did you return to your original height of 2 feet?" The little monkey scratched its head and looked at its body. It didn't seem to understand. Then a powerful bloodline power surged out of its body. Its body started to rise, and it returned to its original 5-foot height. It opened its mouth and was about to say something when a strong sense of resentment suddenly rose up from its body. The little monkey was startled, and its body shrank back. Only then did this strange will disappear. Xiao Jin said with a strange expression, "I can recover my body by activating my bloodline. But then, the sense of resentment will surge out and try to affect my consciousness." Lu Kuan asked curiously, "But you didn't seem to be affected." Xiao Jin put its hands on its waist and said proudly, "Of course, I have already learned your divine sense concealment." "Then how were you affected by the Mirage Thunderlight?" The little monkey's smile stopped abruptly. It said awkwardly, "Ahem, I forgot to use it." Lu Kuan's mouth twitched. Then he raised his eyebrows as if he sensed something. He looked up and saw several cultivators flying towards him from the direction of the Big Dipper Formation. "That's great. Master, you are fine." It was Huang Xiaoyan who spoke. He landed in the gully with a sharp sword light. He was overjoyed. Then the other pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators also flew over. When they saw that Lu Kuan's body was intact, they all heaved a sigh of relief. Then they saw the demon corpse on the ground with a hole in its chest. Its body was more than 3 feet long. Its scales were like armor, and it emitted a horrifying pressure. Everyone's expression changed. Previously, they couldn't accurately judge the cultivation level of the demon through the images. Now, after observing it closely, they found that its aura was much stronger than that of the Demon King. Fire Spirit Lord couldn't help but say, "Master Lu, is this demon the legendary Demon Emperor?" Lu Kuan said in a deep voice, "Yes." Not only it, the 2 that escaped were also Demon Emperors. Demon Emperor. It is the Demon Emperor of the Demon Clan. After hearing that, those pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators all gasped. Lu Kuan waved his hand and put away the demon emperor's body on the ground. He said with a serious expression, "Lu found a lot of information this time. Let's go back and discuss it." Then he led those pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators to the Big Dipper formation. An hour later, 9 human cultivators sat cross-legged on a peak at the edge of the Big Dipper formation. Lu Kuan sat on a rock with a little golden monkey on his shoulder. Among the other 8 people, except for Abbot Ji Yuan, they were all the pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators in this immortal realm. "Master Lu, you're saying that there are 5 demon emperors, 5 demon kings, hundreds of demon generals, and hundreds of demon soldiers," Abbot Ji Yuan said with difficulty. The other pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators all looked terrible. Everyone felt a suffocating pressure. In the ancient books passed down by their sects, they all mentioned the terrifying existence of the demon emperors. They had amazing physical strength and could control the demon spirit vital chi at the same time. In a place like the immortal realm, where the vital chi was chaotic, the demon emperors could even be compared to the mid-soul formation stage cultivators. If such a terrifying demon army swarmed them, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. Lu Kuan looked at these people's fearful expressions and snorted. Under Lu's attack, the demon army only has 4 demon emperors and 4 demon kings left. What's there to be afraid of? Hearing this, everyone came back to their senses. The demon emperors were indeed powerful, but they had Master Lu, this monster. In the battle just now, Master Lu not only had the upper hand in the battle with 3 demon emperors, but he also killed one of them. Looking at it this way, the demon emperors didn't seem to be anything to be afraid of. Abbot Ji Yuan couldn't help but ask, "Master Lu, since you can suppress 3 demon emperors, what if you face 4 demon emperors?" Lu Kuan frowned. "It's hard to say. These demon emperors are not only powerful individually, but they are also proficient in a special battle formation. They can integrate their force fields. If they appear alone, it's easy to deal with them. However, the more of them there are, the stronger their combined strength will be. If 4 demon emperors join forces, Lu won't be able to suppress them even if he uses the 3 heads, 6 arms divine ability again. However, it shouldn't be a problem for them to fight to a draw." Abbot Ji Yuan's spirit was lifted. As long as Master Lu can pin down 4 demon emperors, we can use the power of the Heavenly 36 formation to kill the remaining 4 demon kings. At that time, we can help Master Lu deal with the demon emperors. Supremacy Fire Spirit said, "Ji Yuan, don't forget that this formation needs 36 great cultivators to hold down the fort. These are most of the nascent soul late-stage cultivators in the cultivation world. According to Master Lu's investigation, there are more than 100 demon generals teleported here this time. Among them, there are 18 late-stage demon generals. If they join the formation, we might not have the energy to deal with these high-level demon generals while dealing with 4 demon kings." At this time, Gu Deming suddenly said, "After seeing Master Lu's divine ability, these demons might not take the initiative to attack. According to Master Lu's investigation, there's a kind of divine soul attack in the demonic fog that is comparable to the peak of the soul formation intermediate stage. With this barrier, the demons can completely hide in the demonic fog. You have to know that they can break through to the demon king realm in the cultivation world. As long as they hide in the demonic fog and recuperate, their overall strength will become stronger and stronger. More importantly, after 500 years, the spatial fluctuations will stabilize and more demons will be able to teleport here. At that time, if a few more demon emperors are teleported here, the strength of the demon army will be comparable to the ancient times." Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but nod. If they were demons and discovered that Master Lu was among the humans, they would also hide and not come out. Lu Kuan heard this analysis and frowned. Abbot Ji Yuan hesitated for a moment, then said, "I don't know if Master Lu can enter the demonic fog again and use his divine ability to bring the demon emperors out. Lu Kuan shook his head and said, "These demons are extremely cautious." When Lu sneaked in before, he discovered that their patrols were extremely thorough. Under a sneak attack, he only had time to kill one demon king before the other side's reinforcements arrived. Now that I've killed another demon emperor, they will definitely stick together. With 4 demon emperors and 4 demon kings working together in the demonic fog, Lu won't have an easy time. Everyone suddenly fell silent. Before the demons arrived, they were still worried about how to defend against the demons' attack and how to guard the entrance of the broken country. But now, they hoped that the demons would take the initiative to attack. After a moment of silence, Lu Kuan seemed to have thought of something, and his expression suddenly changed. "It's not that there is no way." "What way? Does Master Lu have a good plan?" Lu Kuan slowly stood up and looked in the direction of the demonic fog. Narrowing his eyes, he said, "It's very simple. Just destroy this demonic fog array." "Destroy the demonic fog? How is that possible?" "This is a powerful array set up by the demon race masters. How do we destroy it?" These pseudo-deity transformation stage cultivators couldn't think of any way to destroy the demonic fog, but when they followed Lu Kuan's gaze and looked outside, they couldn't help but be stunned. They saw that in the endless black demonic fog, the fan-shaped passage opened by Lu Kuan's 3 heads and 6 arms still maintained the appearance of the previous battle and didn't close. Chapter 1351. In the depths of the demonic fog, the huge spatial tunnel had already stopped its teleportation. Inside, a dense blue storm was swirling. As the power of space surged, rich and pure demonic chi surged out. In the air within 20 to 30 feet of the tunnel, there were about 400 to 500 demons floating in the air. There were males and females among these demons. They had no bone spurs on their bodies, and the scales on their skin were of different sizes. The demonic aura they emitted was only at the core formation realm. They seemed to be unable to enter the demonic fog and could only stay near the spatial tunnel. However, these demon soldiers were very disciplined and orderly. They were all floating in the air quietly, without any noise. In the demonic fog 20 to 30 feet away, there were hundreds of demon generals with bone spurs of different lengths flying back and forth. Their foreheads flashed with a special light that prevented them from being corroded by the demonic fog. These demon generals were holding a formation plate in their hands, and some were casting spells. Stone houses made of black rocks were being built. The walls of these houses were carved with strange totem patterns that shone with demonic light. It seemed to be some kind of special restriction power. 100 feet away from the area where the demon generals were building, 20 demons gathered on a rock. In addition to 4 demon emperors and 4 demon kings, there were 3 mid-stage demon generals and 9 late-stage demon generals. Leading them was the most muscular and bald demon emperor, Luo Yu. He said in a deep voice, "The 12 of you are the most suitable ones to break through to pseudo-demon emperors and demon kings. I'll give you the experience of breaking through, as well as some supplementary pills and treasures. Don't waste this opportunity. If you can successfully break through, our Luo family will reward you even more. We won't let you down, my lord." The 12 demon generals bowed respectfully, looking very excited. They originally thought that after coming here, they would first have to fight with the humans. They didn't expect that not long after they arrived, the Demon Emperor would reward them with some breakthrough insights and treasures. Although they knew that the Demon Emperor's actions were related to the battle in the demonic fog not long ago, how could they not cherish such an opportunity? The cultivation rooms are almost finished. Properly comprehend the experience we imparted and try to break through. Yes, my lord. One by one, they flew towards the newly built stone houses with excited expressions. Seeing these demon generals leave, the remaining demon emperors and demon kings fell silent. Their faces looked extremely gloomy in the dense demon fog. Demon Emperor Luo Yu slowly said, "Those 9 late demon generals are all top talents of the Saint race. With our help, their chances of breaking through should be 30 to 40%. As for the three mid-stage demon general fellows, their foundation is also not bad. Unfortunately, leaving the demonic fog now is too risky. Otherwise, if a human nascent soul cultivator were to devour them, their chances of success would be 30%. The female devil emperor next to him sighed softly and said in a weak tone, "What we lack now is the battle strength of a devil emperor. Even if one of them enters the pseudo-devil emperor realm, it will be extremely difficult to break through to the devil emperor realm. Without the addition of new devil emperors, it will be extremely dangerous for us to rashly leave the demonic fog." The blood python demon monarch, whose aura was the most complete, couldn't help but ask, "Luo Yu, is that monster really that terrifying? Even if it's a mid-stage devil emperor, the four of us can suppress it." Demon Emperor Luo Yu was silent for a moment and said, "Xuan Meng, you haven't fought with it, so you don't know. That guy's strength has reached the mid-stage devil emperor realm, but the range of his passive force field is even wider than a late-stage devil emperor. Fortunately, he doesn't have devil essence, or else he could have killed us in the demonic fog. Moreover, he has 6 arms. His attack speed and frequency are almost 3 times that of a mid-stage devil emperor. If we are pulled close to him by his force field, we will have to endure a storm of attacks. In addition, that guy's body also contains 3 strange wills. His control of devil essence is even more shocking. If we were in the demonic fog, the 4 of us might be able to suppress him in terms of moves. But outside the demonic fog, that monster's ability to fuse devil spirit essence greatly increases the power of his force field. It's like he's blessed with devil essence. If we hadn't borrowed the power of Lord Demon Lord's bloodline, we wouldn't have been able to escape. But even so, Zhuotian didn't escape. Demon Emperor Xuan Meng and the other 4 devil kings who hadn't fought with that monster felt a chill. Before they came, who would have thought that there would be such an abnormal monster in this small realm? Luo Yu took a deep breath and said, "From now on, the 8 of us have to stay together at all times. We can't act alone. As long as we are in this demonic fog, we will be invincible. As for occupying this realm, the safest way is to use the protection of the nightmare fog. With the spatial crack as the core, we can build a city. The area covered by the demonic fog is enough for tens of thousands of sacred clan members to survive." The 12 devil generals, just now, were only the first batch of people to break through the bottleneck. As time passes, there will be a second batch, a third batch. We can even wait for 500 years to contact Lord Demon Lord again. At that time, new high-level sacred clan members will cross over. If we want to occupy this realm, we will have a 90% chance of succeeding. After all, 500 years for us is only 5 years for Lord Demon Lord. He can completely maintain the operation of the nightmare fog. When the other demons heard this, they all showed expressions of agreement. This was the safest way at present. After losing a devil emperor and a devil king, they didn't dare to take the risk of leaving the demonic fog. But just in case, we still need to increase our battle strength. The Luo family has several battle formations that can coordinate with devil kings. I will pass them to you. If you can coordinate well, the next time we meet that monster, we might have a chance to severely injure it. Okay, then the devil emperors and devil kings began to communicate with each other. They were in the deepest part of the demonic fog, so they didn't notice that the demonic fog hadn't closed in on the place where they fought the 3-headed, 6-armed monster. Outside the Broken Kingdom, under the call of the pseudo-soul formation expert and the body-refining pavilion, all the high-level cultivators in the immortal world were mobilized. An endless stream of nascent soul and core formation cultivators came from various cultivation regions. These people gathered on the floating island outside the Broken Kingdom, with mixed feelings of anticipation and nervousness, waiting for the upcoming battle. On this day, in the depths of Tianyuan Market, in the cave residence hall belonging to the Southwest Chamber of Commerce, there was a huge pill furnace that was about 10 feet tall. Below it, flames of astonishing temperature were rolling. Scorching Sun Sec's Dao Monarch Black Flame and body-refining pavilions Yu Long Fei and Shi Ener sat around each other. Their hands were constantly forming mysterious seals, and the vigorous magic power in their bodies was constantly fluctuating. It seemed that they were performing some kind of powerful secret technique. Lu Kuan and the others stood not far away and observed. He and Xiao Jin, who was on his shoulder, had a somewhat complicated look in their eyes. The man and monkey thought of the bloodline memory they inherited in the Yi Yuan secret realm. Back then, the Yi Yuan sect's elder used this secret technique to refine the essence blood of the last long-armed ape monkey. Lu Kuan sighed softly and said, "According to our deduction, this method of refining the essence of the demon race's flesh and blood is easier for me to fuse with the will of the bloodline. However, the demon emperor's body is too strong. 3 great cultivators and the deviant flame are still a bit difficult." Beside him, Hong Yuntian looked a little regretful and said, "It's a pity that I haven't studied this demon emperor properly." Lu Kuan patted his shoulder and said, "Now that 3 demon emperors are injured, they won't easily leave the demon fog. This is a good time for me to try to break through. Maybe the flesh and blood essence of the 2 demon kings can help me break through. I don't need the flesh and blood of the demon emperor." Hong Yuntian snorted and waved his hand. "Forget it. After you break through, find a way to catch one alive and give it to me." Speaking of this, he said again, "But then again, can a dual origin force field really destroy the demon fog great formation of the demon race?" Lu Kuan nodded and said, "It shouldn't be a problem. We have long discovered that when the origin force field reaches the single origin force field, it can distort the power of space. In the previous battle, the cracks in the demon fog directly collapsed under the powerful dual origin force field. The demon fog great formation is cast by the demon race powerhouses through the space cracks. If the cracks are smoothed, from another point of view, the demon race powerhouse's casting path is cut off. So the fan-shaped passage we broke out was not covered by the demon fog again. In other words, as long as we destroy most of the space cracks in the demon fog, this formation will break by itself." Hong Yuntian was about to say something. But at this time, from the pill furnace not too far away, an intense blood vitality shot into the skies. The 3 great cultivator-level powerhouses stopped casting their spells, a look of relief on their faces. The demon emperor's body has been refined successfully. Chapter 1352. 2 days later, a spirit boat shot out of the barrier of Tianyuan Market. At the front of the spirit boat, Yu Longfei and Shi Ener stood side by side. One of them steered the spirit boat to fly towards the West Sea province, while the other observed the surrounding movements and remained vigilant. In the room at the back of the spirit boat, Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian sat cross-legged. Xiao Jin also sat between them. They were communicating with each other. "So, you want to use the 3 heads, 6 arms form to fuse with the will of Berserk?" Hong Yuntian asked. Lu Kuan said slowly, "Yes, when we fought the Demon Emperor, the will of Berserk was fused with the help of the Snow Soul Twin Blades. Although it has nothing to do with my bloodline, the 3 heads, 6 arms form played an important role in fusing it so smoothly. If I take out the Snow Soul Twin Blades from my internal organs and activate 3 heads, 6 arms, then Brother Hong's flesh and blood can directly transmit the will of the true demon and carve the Demon King's flesh and blood on your internal organs. Xiao Jin can help me guide the will of Berserk. In this way, I will have enough concentration to try to use different bloodline rune structures to fuse with the will of Berserk in the bloodline pool in my Dantian." Little Monkey patted his chest and said, "Lu Kuan, don't worry. As long as I transform into 5 feet and conceal my divine soul, I will be able to manifest the will of resentment and activate bloodline devouring. When the time comes, I will control the flesh and blood. You don't need to use your divine sense." Hong Yuntian frowned and said, "After 2 days of research, we are confident that we can use 3 heads, 6 arms again. But if we use it too frequently, there's a risk of fusing our body and consciousness. We also have to leave the Dark Soul Crystal for sure inner to break through to Metal Elite Zombie. We can't waste it easily. Lu Kuan smiled and said, "We're not fighting. We only need to use the internal organs of the 3-head 6-arms skill. There's no need to fuse your corporeal body power. There's no need to use the underworld spirit crystal. There is no risk." Hong Yintian pondered for a moment and suddenly said, "I understand. If we use the method we use to calculate, not only do I have to help you carve lines on every part of your body, but you also have to absorb the frenzy. With the help of the 3 heads, 6 arms technique, we can directly inscribe bloodline patterns on your internal organs and inject the power of will into them." At this point, he asked curiously, "My true demon bloodline's ability, other than passively increasing my strength, is to refine my true demon energy. If it were to merge with your berserk bloodline, I wonder what kind of special ability would be born." Lu Kuan's eyes were filled with anticipation as he said, "The other mystiques are fine. As long as they can increase my strength, I'll be satisfied." The Demon Emperor's realm is similar to the Zongyuan stage. Since the middle stage Demon Emperor has the power of 2 elements, it means that a body cultivator in the middle stage of the Zongyuan stage can also reach this level of power. If I break through and my strength surpasses 1 yuan power, it will be easier for me to explore the cultivation path of Zongyuan stage. At this point, he smiled and said, "I'm thinking too far ahead. Let's discuss how to condense the bloodline patterns." Hong Yintian pondered and said, "My task is simple. I only need to decompose the essence of the Demon King's flesh and blood and condense the true demon bloodline patterns on your internal organs. Right?" Lu Kuan said, "That's right. Other than the true demon bloodline patterns, I will also manifest the power bloodline rune to make it easier for Xiao Jin to inject the frenzy. However, we need to determine how these 2 patterns will intersect on the internal organs." Hearing this, Xiao Jin shook his head and said, "That's easy. Just like the Snow Soul twin blades from before, the internal organs will be split in half." Lu Kuan said, "Let's simulate it first." Then they began to discuss. This spirit ship was a fine product refined by the Treasure Pavilion and controlled by a great cultivator. Its speed was astonishing, and it didn't take long for them to arrive at the West Sea Prefecture. Lu Kuan wanted to test the bloodline rune that fused with the will, so he had to manifest his internal organs and Dantian. His current physical body was in the false Zongyuan stage, and he would break through if he wasn't careful. Therefore, he had to try it in the false soul formation stage's vital energy field. When the vital energy clashed with his will, he could stop the breakthrough at any time. The West Sea Prefecture was the territory of the 5 Spirits Temple, and most of the vital energy there had been refined by Supremacy Icefire's will. As long as he could find a demonic spirit vein in this area, he would be able to do it. There were many places like this in the West Sea state, and most of them were Buddhist temples. Relying on Abba Ji Yuan's token, under the guidance of an early-stage nascent soul cultivator, Lu Kuan and the others came to a small mountain peak that was about 1,000 feet high. This place was located in the southeast direction of the 5 Spirits Temple. According to this Buddhist cultivator, when Supremacy Icefire broke through to the soul formation stage, he had seen the sky full of vital energy spread to this place with his own eyes. Lu Kuan dug a simple cave abode here, and Yu Longfei and Serene stood guard outside. All right, let's begin. Inside the temporary cave abode, Lu Kuan stood quietly on the ground. The flesh on his chest opened up, revealing his ribs and the internal organs below. His internal organs were wrapped in grayish-black and silver-white snow soul blades. Under his control, these blades moved along the flesh on both sides, moving to his left and right arms respectively. Then his internal organs condensed inwards, squeezing into an oval ball of internal organs that hung below his sternum. Then a fist-sized pill that seemed to have condensed some kind of purple-black flesh and blood flew out from the space of one of his ribs. It was the flesh essence pill refined from the Demon King's corpse. Hong Yuntian grabbed it in his hand, and rich qi and blood gushed out of his body. His body melted like a candle, turning into a pool of black liquid. Under the influence of an invisible force, tentacles extended out and crawled into Lu Kuan's chest. On the other side, Xiao Jin's 2-foot-tall mini-body turned into a ray of spiritual light and disappeared into the empty chest cavity due to the condensed internal organs. Accompanied by the primordial bloodline aura, the little monkey's body gradually expanded, growing to 5 feet tall in Lu Kuan's body. The hidden resentment in the 6-eared macaque bloodline soared to the sky. Under the golden fur on the surface of his body, a large amount of dark yellow blood gushed out. This blood was like some kind of special mucus, causing the flesh and blood of the little monkey and Lu Kuan to start fusing. However, under the control of Xiao Jin's body and consciousness, the fusion speed was very slow. Beast King transformation. Accompanied by Lu Kuan's low voice, the bone treasure in his body lit up with bursts of silver light. The demon energy and essence in his flesh and blood also surged, with a special evil and greedy fluctuation spreading towards the body of the little monkey. Xiao Jin seemed to sense something, and his body and consciousness activated the flesh and blood condensation technique. His flesh, bones, and internal organs separated from his body and accelerated the fusion with Lu Kuan's body. At this moment, on the left and right sides of Lu Kuan's chest, 2 different kinds of flesh and blood appeared. One was the black flesh and blood essence of Hong Yuntian, and the other was the dark gold flesh and blood essence of Xiao Jin. Both extended a blood vessel and entered the space of the ribs on the left and right sides. The former absorbed the water of the true demon, and the latter was connected to the oath stone that contained the will of madness. Then Hong Yuntian's liquid flesh and blood began to tremble. The Demon King's flesh and blood essence pill was broken down and used as a material to inscribe runes. Mixed with the brutal will of the water of the true demon, it slowly drew a complicated blood pattern on the left side of Lu Kuan's inner ball. At the same time, Lu Kuan's bloodline power also surged violently, and the strength bloodline runes naturally appeared, occupying the left side of the inner ball. Xiao Jin's flesh and blood essence covered it, and injected the will of madness into these runes. Schwerer, protect them, Lu Kuan whispered in his heart. The snow soul dual blades that separated to the 2 sides received some kind of order and turned back. The demon blade covered Hong Yuntian's flesh and blood, while the spirit blade protected the body of the little monkey. Collapse of origin power, Dantian manifestation. The terrifying power of 1 yuan suddenly erupted, forming a violent force that was suppressed by the rich blood essence in the 5 viscera and 6 bowels. The inner ball trembled nonstop and even continued to vibrate with a terrifying force. The nearby demonic spirit yuan, qi, quickly manifested, turning into circles of black and white light that entered Lu Kuan's body. It supported the snow soul dual blades, helping Hong Yuntian and Xiao Jin's flesh and blood to resist the impact. When Lu Kuan sensed this, he let out a sigh of relief. Then his divine sense, which had reached the large success stage, poured into the inner ball through his spinal nerves. Boom! With the injection of his body and consciousness, Lu Kuan felt his nerves being hit hard, and the inner ball began to tumble like boiling water. Chapter 1353. In the broken country, at the edge of the 36 Heavenly Dipper Formation, Venerable Fire Spirit and Venerable Ice Spirit were drinking tea in a pavilion. Senior brother, do you think Master Lu's method will work? Venerable Ice Spirit looked at the thick demonic fog in the distance and asked slowly. Venerable Fire Spirit drank the tea in his cup and said, Junior brother, look at the fan-shaped passage. It's not covered by the demonic fog yet, right? Also, I went to investigate. Although many of the spaces there are still weak, the spatial cracks in the passageway have all been smoothed out. Pavilion Master Lu's method should be to use the powerful divine power of 3 heads and 6 arms to forcefully destroy the spatial cracks in the entire demonic fog array. But according to him, this technique is just the beginning and needs time to perfect. Ice Spirit Master's eyes flashed with disbelief when he heard this. He murmured, "Erasing the space crack? What's the difference between this and breaking the space? Could it be that Pavilion Master Lu's 3 heads and 6 arms has reached the late divine transformation stage? That's not right. According to fellow Hong, the power of the immortal realm can only accommodate the cultivation of the mid-divine transformation realm." Venerable Fire Spirit waved one hand, and a trace of red mist appeared under the tea set. The spiritual tea became warm in an instant. He poured a cup for Venerable Ice Spirit and said, "Junior brother, we've all experienced Master Lu's body cultivation technique. We can't judge it from the perspective of traditional cultivators. The origin force field of Pavilion Master Lu's 3 heads, 6 arms, ability was able to completely suppress the force field of the 3-headed Demon Emperor. In terms of the power of this force field, it's most likely at the soul formation final stage. However, its power should still be within the limits of this realm." Venerable Fire Spirit seemed to have thought of something and said slowly, "Besides, Master Lu has the power to break the void, which is good for us." "What do you mean?" Venerable Fire Spirit said. "Half a day ago, Beihan Fairy suddenly sent a message saying that a space barrier had appeared in the reverse spirit passage left by the Yuan sect. They used the secret technique of the Northern Yuan sect to investigate and found that the barrier was extremely sturdy. I'm afraid that only the strength of a late divine transformation realm cultivator can break it. If Pavilion Master Lu can really break the void, he can definitely break the barrier there and even bring us to the upper bound." Venerable Ice Spirit murmured, "Break the void, immortal realm. I don't know if Master Lu." The Flame Spirit Sage stopped abruptly halfway through his words. Suddenly, a blazing will rose from his body. With a ring of fiery red halo, it rippled to the surroundings. The tea set in front of him was instantly burned into nothingness. Ice Spirit Venerable's expression changed. A layer of icy blue spirit light gushed out of his body, blocking the ring of fire. "Senior brother, what's wrong?" The Fire Spirit Sage's face turned pale. He forcefully suppressed the raging heat in his body. He turned his head and looked in the direction of the 5 Spirits Temple. With a panicked expression, he said, "Didn't Master Lu say that he was cultivating 3 heads and 6 arms in the West Sea continent? Why is he suppressing my will and energy?" Supremacy Ice Spirit was taken aback. Will of origin energy. Master Lu's absorption of the origin energy of heaven and earth seems to have nothing to do with will. Could you have sensed wrongly? The primordial chi in Paragon Fire Spirit's body kept on fluctuating as he suppressed the rampaging primordial spirit. He said with difficulty, "How can my own primordial chi domain be wrong? Damn it. Junior brother, help me stabilize my primordial spirit." Ice Spirit Venerable hurriedly took a step forward and shot a ball of light blue light into the opponent's body. On a nameless mountain in the West Sea continent, Lu Kuan's temporary cave abode was filled with a rich white halo. There was even more origin energy of heaven and earth surging in from outside the mountain. Lu Kuan stood quietly on the ground. His body was motionless. His body was raging with a frenzied and brutal will. It seemed to be colliding with the raging heat in the surrounding primordial chi. From time to time, it would ripple out circles of tricolored halos. Terrifying waves of primordial chi rushed in all directions. This cave abode, that was temporarily reinforced with many restrictions, kept on shaking. The restrictions on the surrounding walls were also trembling. Lu Kuan seemed to be unable to sense the movement outside his body. His perception had already entered a special space. This was an oval sphere that was wrapped by 6 bowels. It was filled with silver blood essence sea. In the middle of the sea, there were 5 small islands of internal organs. These small islands were closely connected. Inside was a bloodline pool that was gold and silver. The bloodline pool was constantly churning. The internal organs on both sides of the pool were raging with brutal will and frenzied will. Above them were balls of light red halo of primordial chi. These primordial chi were filled with a blazing heat, as if it was resisting the suction of the bloodline pool. Time is of the essence. Feeling the sinking speed of the primordial chi, Lu Kuan's mind was solemn. His perception quickly sank into the bloodline pool. Every bloodline water droplet inside was a hyperboloid structure. One side of the surface was composed of bloodline origin particles that were similar to muscle fibers. Each fiber particle was fused together through the frenzied will. In other words, each surface was like a flat, curved muscle. But the connection point of the muscle fibers was not the fascia, but the frenzied will. Every two surfaces intersected through a relatively thick bloodline origin particle, forming a bloodline water droplet. Countless droplets gathered together to form a bloodline pool. But at this time, the bloodline pool started to surge to the right under the stirring of the two wills, emptying the left side of the pool. On the surface of the 5 internal organs on the left side, balls of purple-black liquid mixed with brutal will continuously float out. These liquids slowly flowed into the empty bloodline pool. Lu Kuan sensed and understood. The internal organs on the right side of the island have manifested a power formation structure. The frenzied will that shout gene injected has attracted the power formation water in the bloodline pool. And the left side is where Brother Hong is using the essence of the Demon King's flesh and blood to inscribe true demon runes. What is flowing in through the 5 internal organs is a mixture of the bloodline origin and brutal will of the demon race. The structure of the power formation water droplets is stable. The first step I need to do is to condense the true demon bloodline and form the true demon bloodline pool. The second step is to construct a new bloodline formation structure and merge the 2 different bloodline pools together to form a new human bloodline. The third step is to refine the bloodline origin spirit and break through to the Zongyuan stage. As Lu Kuan pondered, many silver bloodline origin particles gushed out of the gold and silver bloodline pool on the right. When he was in the middle stage of bone transformation, not only did he absorb the true dragon bloodline, but he also replenished the bloodline of the long-armed giant ape. His bloodline origin particles were extremely abundant. The bloodline origin particles of the demon race were a bit like some kind of tiny bone spur. They were long, with the head and tail looking like spikes. The main body looked like a bone. Hong Yintian had not entered the Zongyuan stage, so Lu Kuan did not know what the rune structure of the true demon bloodline looked like. But he had the experience of condensing the power formation and could deduce it from the rune totems provided. The human bloodline origin particles in the form of muscle fibers, the demon bloodline origin particles in the form of bone spurs, and the brutal will that poured and began to intertwine with each other on the walls of the 5 internal organs island under the control of Lu Kuan. Bang, bang, bang. A series of slight explosions sounded. The demon bloodline origin particles in the form of bone spurs seemed to be unable to withstand the endless disintegration and fusion and exploded one after another. But the human bloodline origin particles in the form of muscle fibers, whether it was because they were tough or because of other reasons, were still in a good state after each combination and disintegration. Sure enough, the supernatural powers of the human bloodline are incomparably powerful. Lu Kuan's spirit was shaken. Instead, it accelerated the fusion of the 2 bloodline origins. Every time the demon bloodline origin collapsed, new purple-black liquid would pour in from the walls of the 5 internal organs island. As time passed, and a large number of demon bloodline origins were destroyed, tiny circular bloodline structures gradually took shape. They fused with each other, forming a gray-black bloodline pool. But at this time, in the air above the bloodline pool, in addition to the white halos that were getting closer and closer, many black halos also appeared. These black halos seemed to be impatient, madly rushing towards the bloodline pool. Demon origin energy? Not good. I can't let them combine. Lu Kuan's mind moved, and those circular bloodline structures that had been successfully constructed shattered directly. The demon origin energy above the bloodline pool paused, and then dissipated unwillingly. In the southeast of the West Sea Prefecture, all the cultivators looked at the sky in horror. The sky was full of rich origin energy halos, which not only exuded a strong origin energy pressure, but also surged with a blazing heat. All of this vital energy surged towards an unknown mountain peak. All of the low-level cultivators within a radius of 100 miles were completely immobilized under the terrifying pressure of this vital energy. Even cultivators above the nascent soul stage felt immense pressure. Yu Longfei and Serene stood outside the temporary cave residence on the mountain peak, feeling this amazing phenomenon. They were surprised. They knew that Lu Kuan was studying how to break through to the Zongyuan stage and had no plans to officially break through. Even so, such a terrifying Yuan Qi phenomenon was triggered. Furthermore, with Yu Longfei's cultivation base at the peak of the Grand Cultivator realm, he could sense that the will within the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth seemed to be suppressed by some terrifying force, as if it would be blasted out at any time. After a while, the surrounding demon origin energy inexplicably shook, and circles of black halos rushed into the mountain peak. Yu Longfei and Serene had no choice but to retreat in the face of the terrifying pressure from the intertwining devil spirit Yuan Qi. However, when they had just flown a few hundred feet, the devil spirit Yuan Qi around them trembled slightly and dissipated one after another. Lu Kuan's voice came from the temporary cave residence. The origin energy will here has been shaken. Let's change places. Chapter 1354. One day later, Lu Kuan and the others came to the northeast of the West Sea State. They rented a cave residence in a certain market square of the Five Spirits Temple. With their cultivation, as long as they changed their appearance, no one would be able to recognize them. Yu Longfei and Serene sat in the hall of the cave residence. The surrounding walls had been reinforced by the two of them with many exquisite formations. It was not to conceal the Yuan Qi fluctuations, but to prevent the cave residence from collapsing under the pressure of Yuan Qi. Lu Kuan, Hong Yuntian, and Xiao Jin were sitting cross-legged in a secret room deep in the cave residence. To be able to spontaneously activate the demon Yuan Qi, it seems that this structure is the basic rune of my true demon bloodline. Hong Yuntian looked at the circular closed loop that Lu Kuan had evolved with his blood. The components were clearly visible. The basic unit was a bone spur-like particle, and each of the two segments of this particle was entwined with a muscle fiber-like soft body. These basic units were connected by small, oval-shaped light balls in sequence, forming a very standard circle. Lu Kuan said, "The basic unit of the true demon bloodline rune is the fusion of the demon and human bloodline origins. If they are fused alone, it is not very stable, but with the true demon will in the middle, it will not shatter. But I did not expect that according to your bloodline totem pattern, the final bloodline rune structure would be so simple." Hong Yuntian was still carefully observing the true demon rune. When he heard Lu Kuan's words, he snorted and said, "Your strength bloodline rune is just two intersecting curved surfaces. Isn't it about the same?" Lu Kuan was taken aback for a moment. It seems to be the case. The structure of the two bloodline runes is very simple, but when it is manifested from the internal organs in Dantian, it becomes complicated. Hong Yuntian retracted his gaze and said, "You chose this area without demonic qi because you want to use these two runes to create a new structure or to fuse these two runes together." Lu Kuan thought for a moment. These two bloodline runes have a very stable structure. If they're dismantled, the true demon bloodline might not be so good, but my strength rune will be completely ineffective. Therefore, the new rune structure must be based on these two runes. Hong Yuntian furrowed his brows and said, "Is the brutal intent and the frenzy intent planning to merge with the bloodline rune?" Lu Kuan said with a serious expression. Of course. You've all felt the violent will. It's too powerful. If I were to fuse with it first, I wouldn't have the confidence to control it. Only by using a brand new bloodline rune to fuse the two wills, and then absorbing the demonic spirit Yuan Qi to refine the bloodline origin spirit, can one truly break through to the Zheng Yuan stage with the Berserk will. At this time, Xiao Jin interrupted, "But Lu Kuan, there's only spiritual qi here. If you succeed this time, won't there be no devil qi to absorb?" Lu Kuan smiled and said, "In order to make a breakthrough, the true demon bloodline pool and the power bloodline pool must have the same number of true demons and power bloodline pools. Only then can we merge the entire pool of water in one go. I'm just experimenting with some bloodline water droplets. Even if I succeed, the Berserk will only condense a little. The vast bloodline pool water can wash it away at any time, just like how I interrupted the breakthrough before. By the way, Xiao Jin, you don't need to inject too much of your frenzy intent this time. You just need to make the bloodline pool water separate from your position." Seeing the little monkey nod, Lu Kuan took a deep breath and said, "Let's do it again." Next, the two men and one monkey followed the previous method and merged their bodies. Lu Kuan's perception once again entered the internal organs and Dantian. The bloodline pool was the same as before. The gold and silver pool water shifted to the right, and a purple-black liquid appeared on the surface of the internal organs island on the left. The only difference was that the heaven and earth Yuan Qi above the bloodline pool was filled with an icy intent. Why is the ice spirit's intent so weak? It seems like it can't hold on for long. Lu Kuan sensed that the Yuan Qi above the bloodline pool was dropping at a much faster rate, and he hurriedly started to take action. The human bloodline origin particles mixed with the demon bloodline origin on the other side and the brutal intent. True demon bloodline rune water droplets appeared in the pool water. Lu Kuan did not condense too much of it. When these grayish-black water droplets were added together, they only formed a small ball. There was a faint trace of a special fluctuation inside, but this fluctuation was too weak and could not penetrate the 5 viscera islands. This fluctuation should be the true demon bloodline's passive ability to increase one's strength. Lu Kuan was deep in thought. Then, under his control, a gold and silver power bloodline rune water droplets separated. The Snow Soul dual sabers combined into one to form a powerful berserk intent. Then I can use the power rune with the frenzy intent as the Snow Soul Spirit Saber, and the true demon rune with the brutal intent as the Snow Soul Devil Saber. Lu Kuan sensed the two runes and thought. The power rune has a hyperboloid structure. It's like a person holding up the sky with curved arms and legs. Can I embed the two circular true demon bloodline runes in it? Because of the urgency of time, he acted as soon as the idea appeared in his mind. He saw another water droplet emerge from the true demon bloodline water droplet. The two true demon runes rolled towards the power rune and approached the hyperboloid. Just as they were about to come into contact, a fluctuation surged out from the power rune. The two true demon runes seemed to be obstructed and stopped outside the hyperboloid. It was as if they were blocked by this force and could not approach. Bloodline rejection? Lu Kuan was puzzled. It shouldn't be. The power rune is formed from pure human bloodline origin. When it combined with the demon bloodline origin, there was no rejection. It's just a demon king bloodline origin. With the compatibility of the human bloodline and my current bloodline density, there should only be bloodline devouring. Why would there be rejection? No, this weak fluctuation seems to be the fluctuation of the power rune's ability. Is it the rejection between bloodline abilities? The power bloodline rune doubles the physical strength of the human race. It's even more powerful than the true demon rune. Thinking of this, he separated 2 more true demon runes, a total of 4, and flew towards the power rune. The 4 true demon runes were in groups of 2, one above and one below. They emitted fluctuations that canceled out the power rune and forcibly embedded them into the hyperboloid. Boom! Then there was a slight explosion. Before Lu Kuan could observe, the 5 rune particles seemed to be unable to withstand some kind of pressure and collapsed on their own. The 2 wills mixed with the fragments of human bloodline origin scattered. The demon bloodline origin inside seemed to be unable to withstand this impact and collapsed into nothingness. Lu Kuan couldn't help but be stunned. Then, he recalled the scene just now and somewhat understood. I know, the resistance between the 2 will increase as they get closer. If I force them together, the power of the ability will erupt. He pondered for a moment. The true demon bloodline runes began to move again. They tried to fuse with the power rune from various angles. Bang, boom! They collided and fused again and again, but in the end they all failed. Either the true demon runes collapsed or both of them shattered. No matter how close they got, these 2 runes couldn't fuse together. Lu Kuan didn't feel discouraged. Instead, he fell on a deep thought. These 2 rune structures are very stable. Furthermore, they have passive abilities. It's almost impossible to avoid the clash of abilities. The angle of the Snow Soul dual sabers won't work. Then, I'll try another one. The demonic ape transformation ability from back then contained the intent of frenzy and brutality. The bloodline rune structure is similar to the power rune structure. Lu Kuan's first manifestation of his internal Dantian was through the demonic ape transformation ability. He clearly remembered the scene in the bloodline pool of the demonic ape transformation ability. The bloodline rune of the demonic ape transformation is based on the hyperboloid power rune. It's embedded with many demon origin particles, but there's no brutality left in it. When the brutality is injected from the outside, this will use these demon origin particles as a medium to stir up the demonic ape transformation bloodline pool. It will produce a special ability fluctuation that will diffuse into the sea of blood essence outside. Thus, the demonic ape transformation is born. Do I have to integrate the essence of the demon origin on the foundation of the power rune and construct the true demon rune on the hyperboloid structure? Lu Kuan had told Hong Yintian before that fusing the 2 stable runes was the safest way. However, he didn't expect that this safe method wouldn't work after experimenting. Now, he could only follow the direction of the demonic ape transformation rune and embed the demon origin on the foundation of the power rune to reconstruct the true demon rune. Not good. There's not enough time. At this moment, he discovered that the heaven-earth yuan qi above the bloodline pool was very close. The icy intent inside was also about to dissipate. Sigh. I can only change the location. Lu Kuan sighed in his heart. He dispersed the collapsing power of one origin and retreated from his internal Dantian. P.S. Friends who are watching body cultivation through other channels, if you can, please come and support me. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.